This is it then. Will it be blue or will it be red? It is the 143rd FA Cup final, live on Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester. A reminder, we're with you live across the UK on BBC Sounds as well. Take us with you, whatever you're doing in the next few hours. Who knows what's going to happen next? You're in the company of the former Manchester United and England defender, Paul Parker, the current Manchester City and England women's defender, Esme Morgan, Mike Minay, and first of all, Gaz Drinkwater.
Thank you very much, Mark. Here we are, back in the capital, back under the famous arch, and back with the Manchester Derby FA Cup Final sequel. And with this fixture, it's always personal. City were triumphant here last season on their way to matching United's 1999 treble heroics, and this season look to complete a double-double. That's after winning a historic fourth consecutive Premier League title. United, on the other hand, look to find some joy from an otherwise dismal season, an injury-ravaged campaign that's seen their worst ever league position in the Premier League, finishing 8th with a -1 goal difference and getting beat twice by their neighbours on the way. Pep Guardiola has made 3 changes to his side that won the league against West Ham last weekend. Akanji, Diaz and Doku drop out the side. That's for John Stones, Ake and Kovacic. So City line up with Stefan Ortega in goal, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Nathan Ake and Josko Vardiol along the back four, Rodri, De Bruyne and Kovacic in the midfield, and the 3 up top, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden and the ever-present Erling Haaland. For Manchester United, they make 2 changes. Casemiro out the squad altogether due to injury, as is Amad Diallo. He's on the bench, however. Varane and Rashford return to the side. So it will be this 4-2-2-2 formation for Erik ten Hag in the FA Cup final. Onana between the sticks, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez and Dalot along the back four, Mainu and Amrabat the deepest midfielders, Garnacho and Marcus Rashford the furthest players wide, and it looks like Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes will be the furthest players forward for Manchester United today. The City team currently in a huddle on the right-hand side of the pitch, where it is draped in blue and maybe little specks of yellow as Manchester City fans bring their famous inflatable bananas to Wembley. And on the left side of the pitch, where the Manchester United players have just split up from their huddle, it is draped in red, white and black flags that have been provided for the Manchester United fans today. Joined by myself and Mike Minay on commentary duties is the Manchester City women's defender Esme Morgan and the former United defender Paul Parker. Esme, the big question, will we get a rapid start like last year?
I mean, that'd be a very exciting way to get going, to be honest. We need to catch our breath first, though, maybe. I feel like United might try to be a little bit tighter and avoid a repeat of that, but certainly City will be hoping to start in the same way. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them begin with a direct ball straight onto United's back line and try and get a similar scenario. Well, the bad news is that Manchester City, the bad news for Manchester United, I should say, is that Manchester City have won the kickoff. So it will be Phil Foden to get us started. Kickoff is here. Blue versus red at Wembley once again. Manchester City versus United on BBC Radio Manchester. The ball goes straight back to Stefan Ortega, who launches a ball far down the right-hand side for Manchester United. Headed back into a central position now, Bruno Fernandes. Marcus Rashford could run onto this. Marcus Rashford could be in behind for Kyle Walker, but the ball is played back to Stefan Ortega. Stefan Ortega plays it down the right-hand side, where Bernardo Silva is waiting on the right-hand side of the pitch. Backward pass to Kyle Walker. United actually with the first attack of the game there. But now City will come back at United with Erling Haaland. Central position into the United half. Shrugs off the defender. Lays it off to Foden. The ball comes back in. Haaland shoved down to ground. Big penalty shout from the Manchester City fans there. The ball goes out of play for a throw-in on the far side. Esme Morgan. That has got to be a penalty. Surely VAR is getting called in here. City broke away. Foden played the ball through to Gvardiol just inside the area on the left, and he dinked it towards Haaland at the back post. And it almost seemed inevitable that he was going to rise as he does and head it home. And he just had a humongous nudge in his back as he went to try and head it. And I'll be so surprised if this does not go to VAR. It was a heavy shove in the back. Paul Parker, we're just a minute into the game. It doesn't look like it's gone to VAR. We've got the game back underway. Are you surprised at that?
And I think, morning, I just cannot believe that that's not a penalty. I don't know if they think Haaland threw himself, but to have thrown himself with his body position like that, that would have been almost impossible. For me, that was a penalty all day long. All day long.
Drama in the opening stages at Wembley, but it does remain Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. We might be discussing that one throughout the rest of the afternoon. City now with the ball in a central position, brought down to ground is Kovacic by Amrabat, so Manchester City pick up a free kick just inside the Manchester United half. Rodri lays it off short to Kyle Walker. He goes back to Bernardo Silva on the halfway line, looks to have a sprint down the right hand side, instead plays the ball to a central position where John Stones is waiting and can whip it out to the left to Josko Vardiol. Back along the back line he goes, Nathan Ake collecting the ball and once again playing it down to Bernardo Silva, who puts his left foot on the ball and again turns it back centrally for Manchester City. 0-0 still, 2 minutes into the FA Cup final. Bernardo Silva takes a little bit of a sprint down that right hand side, but decides to just lay it off short to his right to Kyle Walker. Then it's whipped out to the left hand side by Rodri, a good ball, and Vardiol is there to pick it up. Sideways pass to Mateo Kovacic, and here is Rodri on the ball now. John Stones to his right as City slowly start to bring players into the Manchester United half, but take their time after that early drama in the final. Had to be careful there, John Stones, as he played a ball to his left. Bruno Fernandes was up forward there and trying to win it back, to no avail this time. Now it is Kovacic on the ball. Sideways pass to John Stones, who ventures slowly into the United half. Now Bernardo Silva about halfway inside the United half on the right-hand side in front of that sea of red. Manchester City going from right to left in this game, of course, in their blue home strips, white shorts, blue socks. It's Phil Foden, player of the year, picks it up on the left-hand side. Again, more sideways passing from Manchester City. Ake into Foden. United literally have every single player behind the ball in the opening stages. A few jeers, I think, coming from the red side of the crowd here at Wembley for this style of play from Manchester City, but they're keeping possession. United can't really get near them, and maybe at the moment United just hoping for some sort of City mistake. The pass into the feet of Bernardo Silva was closed down by Diogo Dalot, and City have a throw-in. Paul Parker, your thoughts on how this game has opened up?
Well, I'm just wondering if the fans are booing because they want someone to start the movement of people trying to get the ball back. And it was letting City just pass and pass and pass. Okay, they weren't going anywhere, but you can't allow the Manchester City to have that time and get their eye in on what they want to do next. So they needed someone to lead the way and then someone follow on.
Maybe in the City defence there, as they were just continuing to pass it around the back four. I thought Bruno Fernandes got really close potentially to nicking it back for Manchester United. Just looking at this United formation now, it does look like it is going to be Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay as the furthest players forward. Garnacho on the right wing, Marcus Rashford returning to the side on the left wing, with Amrabat and Kobbie Mainoo as the two deepest midfielders. Kovacic again playing a little bit of a risky ball along the edge of his own box. John Stones waiting there on the right hand side though. Bernardo Silva will pick up position on the right for City. Then a attempted pass down the lines, which Kyle Walker will pick up inside the United half now. Kyle Walker, he just has to slide in there as he slightly loses control of the ball, running to a central position. Fernandes unable to nick it back for Manchester United. Rodri with a pass into the feet of Foden, who again goes backwards to Rodri, to Kovacic, and back to John Stones. City with all of the possession in the opening 5 minutes. And a huge penalty shout as well. It does remain 0-0 on BBC Radio Manchester, 95.1 FM, DAB Radio and BBC Sound. You can take us with you today for what is the final of the biggest cup competition in world football. And once again this year, it's all Manchester. Still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 0. Foden turns in the United half, and an attempted pass in behind, and City do finally give the ball away. Diogo Dalot will pick it up and play a pass down the left-hand side. Kobbie Mainoo keeps it in play. Good turn to a central position where McTominay is waiting. Bit of a weak pass from him, though. And then Bruno Fernandes just desperately has to get the ball out of his feet. Plays it back to Rafael Varane in the back four, who finds Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. He will venture forward over the halfway line. Garnacho takes over possession, brings it deep again, back into his own half. where Amrabat will play the ball to the returning Lisandro Martinez. Made his first start since February for Manchester United in that game against Brighton. Now it's the exciting youngster Kobbie Mainoo. Short pass to his right to Bruno Fernandes. First real spell of possession for Manchester United now. The captain Fernandes. Amrabat. Varane picks it up inside the centre circle. Has help from Martinez to his left. Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne sniffing around for a potential pass that goes awry and a potential way of nicking the ball back from Manchester United's back line, who maybe do look a little bit less assured than Manchester City's back line when it comes to passing it around in this position. United have gone all the way back to the goalkeeper, Andre Onana, who's all in yellow today. United in red shirts, black shorts, black socks. They will attack from left to right here at Wembley. 7 minutes into the game on BBC Radio Manchester. City 0, United 0. Onana goes long, looking for the run of Rashford. Kyle Walker gets there first, just outside of his own box. He really had to as well. Kyle Walker passes the ball back into a central position. John Stones ends up putting the ball out of play. However, the referee had adjudged that it had already gone out of play from a touch from Marcus Rashford before that. So City get a throw in on the far side. Esme, what have you thought of the way Manchester City have controlled the early stages here?
That's what I mean. They've done exactly what you expect, shifting the ball left to right, trying to probe and find opportunities to break forward, which they haven't done so far. And as Paul alluded to, United have just needed to be a little bit more proactive in jumping out and finding pressure, especially on those square passes. And the moments where they have done that are the moments they've looked dangerous and broken.
Well, United have the ball now and they are coming forward. It's Garnacho, has the shot from in the box. It's a good shot, straight to Ortega though. Remains 0-0, but a big chance for Manchester United. Paul Parker.
Well, it's as good a chance as they might get in the game. He should have been looking to go across the goal there, Garnacho. But again, City have had a lot of the ball. They haven't worked Onana. United have had really their first few seconds spent in the attacking third, and they managed to actually earn a shot out of it, which is an added bonus. And we've seen already the main thing United are doing, they're looking for that race between Kyle Walker and Rashford. Marcus Rashford on 2 occasions has ran him well, but in the moment he hasn't won the race. But how long can Kyle Walker keep having to do that?
City have it back now with Kevin De Bruyne. A great pass in behind to Phil Foden. Edge of the box on the left-hand side. Foden's ball across goal. Martinez heads it behind. It may just go out for a throw-in. In fact, no, Bernardo Silva has kept it in on the right-hand side. He takes on Delot. Running towards the box from the right. Silva, left-footed. Ball into the far post. Foden keeps it alive, but hits the side netting. And Esme Morgan, we see there 9 minutes in how City can be clinical from these attacking phases.
Yeah, finding Foden in those spaces in the left-hand channel, he's just so clever with the runs he makes. He makes a run from outside to in, receives the pass, and he looked for that cross again to the back post at Haaland. This time it was under hit and Martinez was able to clear. But City is so sharp in shutting off the transition, and Bernardo picked it up straight away and was able to whip the ball back in. And if they can find Haaland with those passes, they're going to be so dangerous.
United take the short goal kick then. It is the centre-back Varane back to Andre Onana, back to a central position to Diogo Dalot, who whips it out to Wan-Bissaka. Phil Foden was waiting there the whole time, did get a foot on it, and it goes out for a United throw-in. Paul Parker, United need to be careful there.
I don't know why they'd done that. It was obvious that Phil Foden was going to win that ball. I'm sitting here and I can see what's going to happen next. They should have just changed it and look, maybe Onana looked to get the ball in the forward position, go there, because they was closed down for the back, and fortunately enough, Phil Foden didn't get hold of it for Man City.
Wan-Bissaka's just hoofed one up, hopefully there, maybe looking for a run of Marcus Rashford, and John Stones was always going to get there first, played it back to the goalkeeper, Ortega, who gives it to Kyle Walker on the right-hand side, who's made a run forward down that right into United's half. He does go backwards with his pass, though, and Rodri will play a ball down to the left-hand side where Vardiol is waiting, halfway inside the United half. Central pass. United win it back through Amrabat, and it is Amrabat in possession now inside of his own half. Thinks about the pass to the right. Instead goes backwards to Varane, and then eventually it is Andre Onana who will pick up the ball. A short pass from him to the left of his own box where Martinez is waiting. Martinez again with the pass back to Andre Onana, where Erling Haaland is certainly sniffing around looking for that interception. Headed back into the United half by John Stones, and then a header again from Kobbie Mainoo, this time intercepted by Kyle Walker. So City win possession back once again. A repeat today of last year's FA Cup final. Chance for Manchester City to do the double-double. For United, it's all on the line. If they want European football, a win will confirm their place in the Europa League. However, with that worst ever Premier League finish in 8th, if City were to be triumphant in this one, United would have no European football this season. City won both derbies in the Premier League this season. 3-0 at Old Trafford, 3-1 at the Etihad. The Etihad United were leading 1-0 at half-time due to a wonder Marcus Rashford strike. Foden with a great ball down the left-hand side. Vardiol is closed down by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but a good pass into Kovacic, who advances into the box. Left-hand pass to Kevin De Bruyne, just inside the box on the left-hand side. De Bruyne's ball in. Varane's header could only bounce behind and kept from going out for a corner at the far post, so lumped into a central position by the United defender. But once again, City win the ball back, and it's John Stones inside the centre circle, as we've seen him so much today already. Rodri with a lovely lobbed ball to the left-hand side. Kevin De Bruyne with that strawberry blonde slicked back hair, waiting for it on the left. And Kovacic will dink the ball back into De Bruyne, who's made a run into the box. But luckily for Manchester United, Rafael Varane gets there first, out for a throw-in. 0-0 it remains.
Well, I'm just looking at it now, and City now are starting to get their passing together in that attacking third, where they weren't doing that early in this first half. They're starting to do it now. They're pushing United deeper. Their passes are more probing now than what they were earlier on, as we've just seen there. But Haaland has let himself down with his first touch.
Lisandro Martinez has just stepped in on Erling Haaland there to win the ball back, so Manchester United will get themselves a free kick just outside of their own box. 30 minutes in, City have had a penalty shout turned down in the opening minute of this game. We almost had a rapid opening to the FA Cup final again, although Manchester United have lasted 13 minutes this time, never mind 13 seconds as it was last year. Now it's Onana dilly-dallying on the ball there. He's passed down to Delo on the right-hand side. Another interception once again by Phil Foden, out for a United throw. Esme, can you see Manchester City jumping on one of these Manchester United mistakes where they play out from the back?
Absolutely. I think United just seem a little bit too casual on the ball. They don't play out with the same assuredness that City do, where you know what patterns are going to come. They know exactly where their teammates are. United almost seem to be playing as they receive the ball rather than looking one or two passes ahead. And you can't play like that when the intensity of the pressure is that high. You've got to know what the next pass is going to be. You've got to give your teammate the ball in a position where they can play the next pass. But United seem to just be a little bit slow to see the patterns and see the pictures, and they're getting caught out. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before City take control of one of the transitions and it ends up in a chance.
And maybe Manchester City will have a chance here, because they do have a free kick. It's inside the Manchester United half, a few yards from the centre circle. Kevin De Bruyne stood over it. It was Phil Foden who was bundled to the ground after he'd played the pass to Kevin De Bruyne. A definite free kick, and maybe a chance for Manchester City now to get the ball in United's box and cause a few problems. Plenty of imposing figures in that box, the biggest of which, of course, being Erling Haaland. 38 goals this season for the Norwegian. Maybe he could make it 39 or even 40 in this game. Scored a few against Manchester United. The free kick comes in. It's headed back behind to the left-hand side of the box. It will roll out of play for a Manchester City throw-in. Bit of danger there, Esme.
Yeah, a great delivery from De Bruyne, as you'd expect, finding the space in behind the United defence, but United recovered well, kept their structure, kept blocking the runners of City and managed to head clear. So final chance, well, not a final chance, but an opportunity now on the left-hand side for City.
Quarter of an hour into the FA Cup final on BBC Radio Manchester. City have a throw-in right by the corner flag. On the left-hand side will be Josko Vardiol, who throws it in towards Kovacic. Kovacic tries to return the pass, bounces off Wan-Bissaka. So out for another Manchester City throw-in on the left-hand side. Josko Vardiol, again the one to take it. 4 goals in his last 7 Premier League games, as City now have the ball in a central position. It's sprayed to the left to Bernardo Silva, who brings it down well. Delo makes an interception, but once again, no real plan in possession for Diogo Delo as he wins it back there. Hoofs it into the air, and Kyle Walker is waiting, and no press present from the United players, so City can take their time again. Now it's Vardiol on the left. Back to Kovacic. Inside the centre circle now is Rodri. Has help to his right from Kyle Walker, who's drifted back into a central midfield position as Bernardo Silva picks it up and runs at Diogo Dalot. It is Silva, lays it off, Foden outside the box. It's a poor pass in the end from Phil Foden. Vardiol wasn't quite there waiting for it, rolls out of play harmlessly for a Manchester United goal kick, 0-0.
Well, the problem that United have got at the moment is that there's an overload on this near side to us. Wan-Bissaka and Amrabat are ended up, they're swapping right back positions. We've got Guardiola going, then you've got Phil Foden, then you've got De Bruyne there. They're shifting around, and the two of them are really struggling. I've just seen Amrabat go across the middle, and he's looking behind him at Wan-Bissaka, and he's worried about him being 2 against 1 at the far post. So something has to be sorted out on this near side, how they're going to deal with it. But I think everyone says that when you play Manchester City. No one found out because City still go on and win competitions.
McTominay there just whipped a ball out to the right-hand side. Alejandro Garnacho couldn't quite get there before a City defender, so City will again build out from the back. Sorry, Esme.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like United feel a little bit disjointed out of possession. The connection between the front four of Rashford, Fernandes, Garnacho and McTominay is the gap's too great between them and the back six. So when City broke then, all it took was an injection of pace from Bernardo Silva to dribble 10 yards forward, and the front four players of United were completely out of the game, and that meant there was a massive gap for Foden to be able to receive a square pass and try and find the forward one.
City build out all the way from Ortega there. United had 4 players forward marking City defenders. Not one of them got anywhere near the ball, and City just managed to play their way through once again. Far too easy for Pep Guardiola's men. Vardiol back to a central position by the centre circle. John Stones and Nathan Ake playing between each other once again. City with the vast majority of possession in the opening 18 minutes, as you would expect, really, it has to be said, on this glorious sunny Wembley day. Vardiol now halfway inside the United half. Good pass into Rodri just outside the box. Kovacic picks up possession now, bit of space to run into, then De Bruyne, backwards pass from him where Ake will take over. Here's Vardiol, City playing the ball in the final third here, looking dangerous. United with every single man in red behind the ball. City forced to go backwards. Bernardo Silva just outside the centre circle, now Kovacic. Foden and Kovacic between each other then. It comes back to Kovacic, who plays it down the right-hand side, where John Stones in the shaded area at Wembley in the right-hand side of the pitch will pick up possession. Back to Kovacic and Ake inside the centre circle. City playing the ball around inside the United half, and United almost just letting them really come at us so we can counter. That's what the United players saying at the moment, but now City will come forward. It's Kevin De Bruyne's pass, which just had a bit too much on it for Vardiol to control. United have a throw-in now on their right-hand side.
I mean, you're talking about countering. I don't think they can really counter. All they're doing is that one pass to Marcus Rashford. The problem is Marcus Rashford is like virtually man-marking Kyle Walker, and if it comes to a race at the moment, we're seeing 2 races. Kyle Walker's won them both on pace, and he won the second one by strength as well when they both were on the ball. So Marcus Rashford has got to look to run off for someone else, maybe just go from out to in and step onto
Rashford and Minay with good link-up play there. Now Minay will do well to keep possession. He does turn and keep it well. Fernandes ball over the top. Rashford, he does control it quite well, but once again Kyle Walker back, mistake at the back for City. McTominay almost makes the most of that and gets a shot on off goal. Unfortunately for United, City win it back. City a bit panicky now around the back as they play the ball back to Ortega. Ortega down the right-hand side where Silva is waiting. He goes round Marcus Rashford, turns back towards his own goal. Risky pass back to John Stones, but City do keep possession. Kovacic loses out. Bruno Fernandes gets there, brought to ground by Kovacic. No appeal from the United captain for a penalty, and City do play their way out now. And now Manchester United don't have many players back. One of them is Diogo Dalot, who slides in. He's bemused that a free kick is given. He thinks he won the ball, but City have a free kick just inside the United half. Esme Morgan.
Well, the temperature of the game's just gone up a few degrees. Crikey, City playing the ball out from the back there. John Stones gave it back to Ortega, and he played a loose pass into Kovacic's feet. I don't think he was quite expecting to receive it, and he was being jump pressed by 2 Manchester United players, and he dived in, and there's a shout for a penalty. I think he won the ball, but City have got a little bit lucky there, and that was definitely a nervy moment. And then off they went on the counter-attack, and United have been pulled up for a foul, which is maybe a little bit harsh.
I think the pass definitely was harsh. A little bit of, we can see it wasn't a penalty, with nowhere near a penalty. But what we saw there, United have not really ever done that against City in that situation, so it caused a bit of a problem. That's a step forward for Manchester United in the game like this, because they weren't doing that in the previous two Premier League games. They've never done that. They weren't pressing or closing down, whatever you want to call it, doing that. They just quite happy, just content to be, it's close enough, and that will do.
Still goalless in the FA Cup final, 22 minutes on the clock. Manchester City in possession now. They opted to keep the ball with a short free kick, and now it's Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Loses the ball, and Rashford nicks it back on the left, and the referee, in fact, has given a Manchester United free kick when it almost looked like Rashford was on a potential break there inside the City half, but Bernardo Silva did come sliding in and did bring the Manchester United player down. Martinez with a pass forward into McTominay. Good run by McTominay, back towards a central position. He'll play the ball out to the right-hand side where Wan-Bissaka is waiting. Forward pass down the right from him to Garnacho. He runs straight back through the middle. Kobbie Mainoo takes over, and now it's Scott McTominay. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. Good run by Garnacho. He'll take on Ake on the outside. Garnacho goes down. It'll go out for a Manchester City goal kick. It's 0-0 in the FA Cup final. And to take you through the rest of the first half on BBC Radio Manchester is Mike Minay.
Thank you, Gaz. Manchester United growing in confidence the more this final progresses. Their 22nd FA Cup final, a competition record, now overtaking Arsenal's 21, and they are, Paul Parker, growing into this game.
They certainly are. They're just getting that little bit. They're showing more than what I've seen before, to be perfectly honest, from a Manchester United side against Manchester City. The problem is, though, in this position now, this is where City sometimes go and score that goal that makes a difference and changes games.
Kovacic and Vardiol combined down the left-hand side. A couple of 1-2s. Now Vardiol stands it up by the byline and just rolls it back down this near side channel for Kovacic into the middle of the Manchester United half for Rodri, who moves out towards that far side, gives it to Bernardo Silva, who's now jogging down the touchline up against Diogo Dalot. Here's Walker, bright orange boots strapped to his feet. Now Kovacic on the edge of the centre circle. John Stones just moves away from Bruno Fernandes, who was trying to apply the pressure. Bernardo Silva dummies one pass down the line, and back it goes to Kyle Walker.
I think Man United have looked at their best today when they've taken the initiative out of possession and they've jumped out and put pressure on City players. There's been long periods of possession for City where they've been under no pressure whatsoever from United. They've been happy to stay in their shape and shift left to right. But the moments where someone has jumped out and someone has gone at a City player with a bit of intensity is when they've won the ball back and looked threatening on the counter. So I think they need to have those moments a little more frequently to try and put some pressure on City.
Yeah, a couple of good battles between Marcus Rashford and Kyle Walker on that far side. Here is Foden. Bernardo Silva, the man who got Manchester City into the final by scoring against Chelsea, slides it on through. Kovacic will try and pull it back. Where's the loose ball going? Vardiol trying to race onto it, and across sets Kobbie Mainoo for Manchester United to drag it out to this near side corner, down to our left-hand side. And it just looked for a brief moment there that Manchester City might be in on the right of the penalty area. United clear it, only as far as the halfway line. Here is John Stones, calmed down by Rodri, and Kovacic can just knock it to his left-hand side for Nathan Ake.
Well, Phil Foden found himself in exactly the same position as last weekend, where he received on his back foot and fired a shot into the top corner, and it looked as if he thought for half a second about taking aim again, but instead he played this beautifully weighted reverse pass to the corner of the box for Kovacic to run onto, and he cut it back into space, but unfortunately Haaland had made the front post run and wasn't there to get to the pullback.
That was just trademark Man City. That ball getting to the byline or the dead ball line is just typical. Normally De Bruyne's down there pulling that ball back. If he'd have been there, very rarely does he not hit one of his own men with that pass.
De Bruyne pirouetting on the ball, just knocks it back to the halfway line. 0-0 at Wembley in the FA Cup final, the 10th FA Cup meeting between Manchester City and Manchester United. City have won 4 of the previous 10. All of those, incidentally, Or sorry, rather 3 of those, the semi-final and final in years gone by. United have won 5, all of those though in rounds 3 to 5 of the FA Cup. Here's De Bruyne on the left-hand side, slides it on through to Foden, edge of the penalty area, he'll try and get the turn, lays it back to Kevin De Bruyne, 25 yards from goal. Blocked off by McTominay, no shooting room there for Kevin De Bruyne. Kovacic, Rodri, bending ball in, looking for Haaland, header is up on the edge of the 6-yard box. Vardiol tries to close it down quickly. Manchester United just smash it away. The hoof calls come from Manchester City fans, knowing that when United do clear the ball, they've got nowhere to go.
Sorry, Esme. I'm just thinking now. Again, I talked about it before, just about with Fernandes. He knew where he was putting that ball. He's put it in an area expecting Rashford. Rashford has reacted to the pass rather than being proactive.
Yeah, he's so quick, Rashford, so it is worth the gamble of putting it in behind, but so difficult when Kyle Walker's the one he's in a race with. He's got incredible pace. Although he looked like he wasn't quite expecting Rashford to go for it there, so he almost caught him unawares. But the ball runs through to Ortega, and he's got such composure to just play the ball calmly to Kyle Walker under pressure, and City have possession yet again.
Marcus Rashford, who scored in that thriller against Liverpool by 4 goals to 3 that United won. He hasn't scored multiple goals in a single FA Cup campaign, Marcus Rashford, since 2017, and he got 3 for Manchester United. Looking for his 2nd goal of this season's competition in the final. Here's Vardiol in from the left-hand touchline, the near side. Manchester City in sky blue, the white shorts and sky blue socks, from right to left in this opening 45 minutes, of which we played 28. Manchester United, red shirts, black shorts, black socks, from left to right. On the far side of the field, Kyle Walker stepping in from the right back position, launches a ball to the left-hand side where Vardiol takes a heavy touch, and then it's played off by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, off Vardiol, and behind for a goal kick to Manchester United.
As I expected with the formation, when the team news came out, I thought there was a good chance that Vardiol would be pushing higher onto that left-hand side and Foden would come inside. And that's what we've seen so far. Vardiol's been given the freedom of that left wing, and there he found himself up on United's back line. Kyle Walker with a great crossfield pass to find him, and he was in a great position. His first touch just let him down.
I mean, if that first touch had been better, he would have been in, because Wan-Bissaka lost that in the sun. He seemed to have stopped running, he couldn't run, and he just, lucky enough, that first touch was maybe half a yard too much in front of him.
Loose pass picked off by Amrabat as he gets to the halfway line. He then flicks it back to Dalot, who then goes over the top, asking for Garnacho to make the run. An awkward bounce for Vardiol, who heads it back, and there is Alejandro Garnacho for Manchester United. Stage, Alejandro Garnacho, the United youngster, with a mistake at the back from Manchester City, punished, rolls the ball into an empty net, and for all of City's possession, it is Manchester United that score first in the derby final. Andre Onana has raced the full length of the field to celebrate. It is a massive goal for Manchester United. Garnacho kisses the badge, and it's City 0, United 1.
Well, that was just something really out of the blue, and it was just a case of going and chasing something down. Just go and make a run and see what happens. And you've got to look at the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper had no reason to come and do what he done, Ortega. That may be down to the lack of game time, but to be caught out like that in no man's land, and the defenders were just caught out as well by him being so close. And Garnacho has got something just by sheer perseverance, because at the moment in time his game hasn't warranted him maybe going on, maybe being the match winner, because he hasn't been in the game. But he could be talked about for a long time if this game carries on like this and United were to win it 1-0.
That was a bit of a disaster for City. I think they were trying to play Garnacho offside, but he timed his run perfectly to stay on. And then as the ball bounced through, Ortega came out to the edge of the box. Vardiol thought he was staying and headed it back to him, ended up heading it over him, and Garnacho just had to finish into the empty net. But that's exactly the sort of thing that United have been looking for. When they've won possession back, they've just looked to boom the ball in behind City's back line and gamble and hope that something like that comes off, and it did.
A hit and hope from Manchester United has turned hope into glory. And Alejandro Garnacho has opened the scoring after half an hour. Now can City find immediate reply? It's Foden into Haaland right at the D. Cleared away again by Manchester United. who off Ake's knocked down in the centre circle are in possession again. When you're a defender, Esme, who's made a mistake like that as Joško Vardiol, where's your confidence right now as Kyle Walker steps across John Stone, slides in on Marcus Rashford? He's made a mistake in a massive game.
Yeah, I mean, in the moment you're hurting and you feel bad, you feel like you're letting your teammates down, but he's just got to shake it off and make sure he gets himself back on the ball. I think it would be easy when you make a mistake like that to go into insular and hide a little bit, but he's such an important player for City and has been in recent months. He needs to just get back on the ball, find his rhythm again, and as I say, grow back into the game and feel comfortable once more.
City's turn to defend deep. Here's Wan-Bissaka. Garnacho, the goal scorer, getting through on the right of the penalty area when Joško Vardiol headed it over his own goalkeeper, and Garnacho had the chance just to roll it home for Manchester United, who might be about to save their season if the result stays like this.
I like what they're doing, United. They're just virtually in a certain way going route one, but going there with a little bit of structure. There's players who are making, and they're just doing it, and they're causing the City defenders problems. They're having to think about how high do they come, or do they sit deep, and it's leaving little gaps there, and it's all kind of starting around Fernandes, really. He's causing a problem as this kind of, he's just sitting deep as a number 9.
All the noise coming from the Manchester United fans behind the goal to our left-hand side. They were a long way from Garnacho's finish. They won't care about the view, they'll care about the score. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1 at Wembley in the FA Cup final. Live on BBC Radio Manchester with 12 minutes to half-time. Here's De Bruyne just outside the right corner of the D. Feels he was fouled there as Manchester United poke it away and out towards the far side. He had a look towards the referee, Andrew Madley, in his first FA Cup final, the match official. But nothing given. And here are United again, with Wan-Bissaka out to Garnacho, right-hand side. Vardiol tracks back slowly. Ball lofted in early. Here's Mainoo on the edge of the penalty area. Challenge from behind is a fair one of Nathan Ake, and City can bring the ball away. Can they get on the counter-attack? Hit and hope of their own, but Bernardo Silva finds nobody in sky blue. This game just a little bit on edge at the minute, a little bit seesaw.
Yeah, I think City are a little unsettled since that concession of the goal. Bernardo there, so often you see when City retain possession and look to build again, the patience, they allow everyone to get back into position. And he almost copied what United have been doing there, got the ball back and looked to play a ball in behind. His teammates weren't prepared because that's not the style of play, and they lost the ball again.
Vardiol and Garnacho tangle. This time Garnacho fouls the Manchester City left-back, wins a free kick. For all the possession that Manchester City have had, 70% of it, it is Manchester United that lead. City yet to register a shot on target. Manchester United, Paul Parker, have 2, and they've got a goal.
That's exactly right, and I think if you try and follow the line and try and be like Manchester City, you're always going to get beaten because they're better at it. Sometimes you have to go and do something different. People now looking at it as always being ugly, it's long ball. But it's long balls, but just played in a fashion with an idea. There's an idea at the end of it, there's a purpose. And the purpose at the moment has been they've gone and scored a goal by stretching Man City, making them turn and look over their shoulder and running behind.
The suited Pep Guardiola goes back to his dugout. Erik ten Hag, looking to become the 4th Dutch manager to win the FA Cup, stands with his arms folded on the edge of his technical area. Guardiola back out. A quick word with his bench as Ake has it left of centre, midway inside the Manchester United half. Here's Rodri, space out on the far side touchline for Bernardo Silva. 10 minutes to half-time. It's Manchester United who lead in the FA Cup final. Walker, infield, uses Rodri, Mr. Unbeatable. 74 games without defeat in all competitions for Manchester City, but he's going to have to help drag his team over the line here. Kovacic just moves centrally from the left-hand side, rolls it on through for De Bruyne. Haaland tries to get the turn away from Manchester United at the back. Was it Varane involved there or Martinez? It's rolled out to the right-hand side for Kyle Walker, who shimmies one way, then the other, and knocks it back into his own half.
That was better from City, a little more patient. It just got a little bit cramped in front of the edge of the box. United have so many bodies back there, just 2 banks of 4 in front of the penalty box, and it was just too intricate, trying to play a little flick from Haaland, and it ended up getting cut out. But City look to be back into their rhythm now and being patient, keeping the ball and looking to work an opening.
Walker to Bernardo Silva. Foden just helps rotate the play, and Bernardo Silva, having run back to the halfway line, can start to face the Manchester United penalty area again. Kyle Walker infield. Here's Bernardo once more with Foden and De Bruyne ahead of him. Bernardo might go alone here with a dipping shot that skipped once off the turf, but caught comfortably by Andre Onana. It is, though, after 36 minutes, Manchester City's first shot on target in this game.
Yeah, that was quite wasteful from Bernardo. I don't think it was necessarily a good opening for a shot. He almost jogged towards Manchester United's penalty area under no pressure, and it was the perfect opportunity to try and create a better chance, work something with his teammates. De Bruyne actually made a great run in behind, but he chose to shoot as well, and it was quite a tame effort, really.
Another ball over the top. The flag will stay down, and Garnacho's coming into the right-hand side of the penalty area. Man over in Rashford! Now the flag goes up. Marcus Rashford denied a Wembley goal. And Manchester City will have a free kick. It will be checked by VAR.
I mean, for me, that was well offside started. I could see it from here. I'm really shocked that Man City are trying to play such a high line. For me, it's unnecessary for them to be playing that way. I mean, you look at it, the pace is on the other side of Rashford. You know Garnacho's not going to hurt you. Why don't you just drop off a little bit rather than do that? Garnacho has gambled, got it wrong this time, but I mean, Pep's not happy about that. He's gone mad. He's reacted really badly when they tried to play that way.
Yeah, United's forwards are clearly on message. As soon as they get the ball in space, look to run beyond, and City don't seem to have cottoned onto that. They're not anticipating the cues of the long ball coming. They're not dropping soon enough, and it's fortunate that Garnacho went too early there and was caught offside.
Pep Guardiola is furious with Simon Hooper down on that touchline, barking in his ear. Red-faced, the Manchester City manager. Here is Rodri into the left of the penalty area, and he's got space to pull it back for De Bruyne. It flicks on through for Haaland, and easily dealt with by Manchester United, headed away. And here's Bruno Fernandes. Kovacic tries to cut him off, can't. Here's Mainoo out towards the far side left with Rashford, who goes long again. Another searching ball drifting out to this near side touchline, where Garnacho will pick it up. 3 red shirts go with it. One of them is Bruno Fernandes, and here's Rashford again. Mainoo scores. Kobe Mainoo, the Manchester United starlet, his breakthrough season, and he rolls it into the bottom right-hand corner from the left of the penalty area, and Manchester United are creating a magic moment at Wembley. Kobe Mainoo, would you believe it? The underdogs are roaring. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2.
Well, I must say, my left arm has got goosebumps on it. I cannot believe what has happened there. But for me, the bit I loved about that was Fernandes. His pass was the one that done it. That was the pass that made that goal. It was absolutely wonderful. So unselfish of him to go and do that as well. And I was the first to talk about him not actually pushing himself and showing what I'd want to see from a captain. But that pass he made there has made me a little bit of humble pie, to be perfectly honest. Garnacho's ball in was a wonderful ball in, great decision, but that little pass round the corner to Kobe Mainoo is the one that absolutely took so much out of Kyle Walker. Fantastic play by Manchester United.
Absolutely stunning pass from Bruno Fernandes. You're right, Rashford played the crossfield ball, but Fernandes made that run through the centre. He was there for Garnacho to pull it back to him, and everybody thought he was going to shoot. All of City's defenders shifted across to block the shot. Ortega was braced for the shot, and he just played this beautiful reverse pass to Mainoo, and it was a great finish. Brilliant goal from United.
City 0, United 2, and it's Kobe Mainoo. He's an FA Youth Cup winner. He has set his team onto the path for FA Cup glory on the main stage. City need to find a response. Bernardo Silva cut out on the far side by Diogo Dalot. And here's Bernardo again, infield now, pocket of space for De Bruyne, who sweeps it across right into the 6-yard box. Erling Haaland can't get there. His wait for a Wembley goal rolls on. And it's still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2.
Haaland just needed half a second longer to further his run into the box. It was a great pass from Bernardo Silva down the line towards the byline for De Bruyne, and a stunning ball across the box, right where the goalkeeper doesn't want to come for it. The defenders don't want to touch it because it'll go into their own net, but Haaland just couldn't make his move in behind Varane quick enough.
And I think he's tried to bend his run. He might have been better there going direct at the ball. As he's trying to bend his run, that ball's come in, and then he can't see the ball because he's tried to go in behind Varane.
Long ball forward. John Stones cushions it with his head back to Kyle Walker, and then Stones gives it away. So much sloppiness at the back for Manchester City. Fernandes in from the left. He'll go for the low shot. Blocked by the legs of John Stones. Ball flies up into the air, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side.
I just think Fernandes is causing problems. They've got, just call it a false nine. That's something new, isn't it? No one's heard of that before. And he's just because he's dropping off deep. The two centre halves are not up against anybody. Scott McTominay, should he have been maybe pushing on? Well, he hasn't done it if he's meant to, but he's sitting that bit deeper as well, so they've got that bit of insurance behind as well if they do lose possession in that attacking third.
Onana all in yellow, left-footed, long ball over the halfway line. John Stones wins a header, offside given against Scott McTominay anyway. 2.5 minutes to half-time, and it's Manchester United's day in the sunshine at Wembley so far. 2-0 they lead. Only two. The last 19 FA Cup finals have been won by more than a single goal margin. Arsenal's 4-0 win over Aston Villa in 2015. City's 6-0 win over Watford in 2019. So by form, Manchester City will try and find a way back into this. Bernardo Silva, can they do it? Just before half-time, Bernardo Silva. Rodri can't roll it back through to Bernardo on the right corner of the penalty area. Common theme that City can get high up the pitch, deep into the United half. The final ball, the decisive ball, hasn't quite been there yet, Esme.
No, they're not quite connecting in the final third. They seem to be a little bit on different pages, and it's unlike Rodri to underhit a pass, but that one through to Bernardo Silva there was loose.
Kovacic, 4 Manchester United players in their red shirts swarm around him. Loose ball though, runs to Kyle Walker. Kevin De Bruyne, little trick, steps in field from the far side, tries to get into the penalty area. Showed too much of the ball to Scott McTominay, and United move away down that far side touchline. Walker goes with him, doesn't bring him down. Oh, he does. The referee took a little bit of time there, but awards Manchester United the free kick midway inside their own half, right on the far side touchline. Paul Parker.
Sorry, I was just laughing. It wasn't a foul, was it? He just got dizzy, didn't he, Scott McTominay, and fell over. That's what he looked to me, and I'm lucky enough to see the replay of it. I mean, it was a cheap one by the referee. He's got Manchester United a little bit out of jail there, but everything they've done so far, I've just seen Dalot, he gets the ball and he goes bang. He knocks it in behind them, where before they'll try and play pretty little patterns. And if you do that, you're playing the way Pep Guardiola wants you to play. He'll tell you after a game how well you played, but you're playing his football and he's always going to win that. Play your own football and you give yourself a chance. At this moment, with nearly 45 minutes gone, United have played their own football and they're 2 goals in front.
We are into the final minute of the first half. Vardiol in from the left-hand side, gives it to Kovacic. He just has to spin away there from the challenger Bruno Fernandes. Kevin De Bruyne is going to be asked to do the same. He's challenged from behind by Kobbie Mainoo. And Manchester City have a free kick here, left of centre, 30 yards from goal. It could be a promising position, 2 minutes of added time.
It's a good position to have a free kick. He's come through De Bruyne to get to the ball, Mainoo. You could argue it wasn't a foul. It's a good position for City to win the ball. Oh, maybe a harsh yellow card, I think, there. Yeah, I don't think he deserves a yellow card for that. He has come through De Bruyne to reach the ball, but it's a strong challenge. What do you think, Paul?
I think you can hear me, by the way, Esme. I just cannot believe he's got through and won the ball. Okay, you don't go from behind. You know that you can't do that. You have to be 101% sure, but he's still won the ball. But it's the point of De Bruyne has gone down like he's touched him. He hasn't touched him. He's touched the ball, and the momentum has taken De Bruyne to the floor. The referee's got caught up in it there. That was a poor yellow card.
So this free kick, Kevin De Bruyne is the sole occupant over the ball. In a game where little has gone right for City, De Bruyne clips it up back post, and that theme continues. Bounces once in the box, and it's a very easy catch away from his goal on the byline. For Andre Onana, it's got to be better.
Yeah, disappointing again from City, finding themselves in a good position, and the ball's just gone to waste. He overhit it, and it's just run through to Onana. City really need to regroup at half-time and connect, and I think add a bit of intensity to their attacks. It all seems a little bit one-paced at the minute, and
Haaland trying to squeeze in between two defenders in Varane and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka reads the game well, and Manchester United are able to clear to the halfway line into the second minute of the two that were added on. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2 at Wembley. FA Cup final going Manchester United's way so far. Here's Kovacic, moving further and further to the left-hand side, rolls it deep into the Manchester United half for Vardiol. Just rolls it under his left boot, flicks it through for De Bruyne, and now to Foden. Challenge comes in, and Foden let that challenge come in. It rolls the other side of the touchline for a Manchester City throw-in, and the half-time whistle goes then. Well, who saw this coming? Manchester United lead at the break in the FA Cup final, and it's two of their academy boys that have sent them on their way. Alejandro Garnacho punishing a Manchester City defensive error when Joško Vardiol and Stefan Ortega misread one another. The ball bounced over the goalkeeper, and Garnacho rolled into an empty net. And then at the back post, Kobbie Mainoo made it 2-0, rolling into the bottom right-hand corner. And that means after 45 minutes, Manchester United are halfway there. There is a lot of work for Manchester City to do in the second half. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2.
Well, the beautiful thing about football is that it never fails to surprise you. Who saw that first half coming? Manchester United are 2-0 up in the FA Cup final. And Paul Parker, that does not look to me like a team that's not playing for their manager.
I don't think you noticed me, by the way. You asked, has anyone saw that coming, had my arm up saying I did? Or is my nose growing?
Pinocchio sat over there.
I just cannot. What I've seen, and they deserve to be in front just by the way they've gone about it. You can talk about possession, but as we know, best possession doesn't always guarantee you a win or get you in front. It doesn't guarantee anything. You have to put something at the end, and United haven't had that possession, but they've just been clinical, and the second goal was just wonderful, I must say, for me. And as you just said there, that doesn't look like a team that's not playing for the manager. It's a statement which is coming to our game, which everyone throws up when there's a poor performance, and people see that as a way out, an avenue to go down when things ain't going right. But for me, that first half was as disciplined as I've seen United this season. The last time I saw them this disciplined was at Anfield in a 0-0 draw.
In what has been such a difficult season for United, Esme, Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho have been two of the bright sparks, two teenagers, two players that have come through the United Academy, and they've both gone and scored in an FA Cup final. Yeah,
they've both been great today, and as you say, they've been sort of sparks of light throughout the season for United. They've produced, they've performed well in moments where they've needed them, and today they've stepped up as well. You can see exactly how United want to play. They're, as Paul said, so disciplined and compact at the back. There's just no space for City's creative players to operate. Every time Kovacic, De Bruyne, Foden get on the ball in the final third, they're swarmed by 3 or 4 red shirts, and as of now, they've not been able to create any clear-cut chances, and United had just planned the game perfectly, absolutely perfectly. They've waited for City to make mistakes. They've waited for them to give the ball away in the tight spaces and just hit them direct play in behind. And the forwards are on message. They're running as soon as they get the ball back. They're spinning in behind City's defence, and City haven't clocked onto that yet. They're not dropping in anticipation of the long ball, and they've got caught out on multiple occasions, and that's left them 2-0 down.
Yeah, Erik ten Hag's game plan has worked perfectly, hasn't it, in that sense, Paul? Where has this been all season, though?
Well, we know they just haven't got that consistency with the discipline side of it. Players suddenly do their own things when it isn't going right for them. They look after themselves rather than get together as a team and work together at it. But we're seeing it here. It's on a big stage. This is a big game. in all areas, and we're seeing them bonding together. I mean, this is already, this first 45 minutes is the best Rashford's been all season. I'm seeing energy. I've seen him running back, and we've seen him run back before, but he's running back now with a purpose to try and win the ball. That's what he's doing, there's difference. He's run forward, he's tested Kyle Walker. Now Kyle Walker is a bit worried about going forward because he's worried about leaving Rashford with John Stones. Great, he's got in someone's head. That's all you have to do. And I've never said, I cannot believe I'm talking so positive at this moment in time.
It's the perfect response to what's happened at the start of the week with being left out of the squad for the Euros.
Correct.
Marcus Rashford has responded. Before we talk about that second goal, which we have to talk about, let's talk about the first, Esme. Joško Vardiol, Stefan Ortega, they've had a lot of praise in the last few weeks. Vardiol for his work down the other end of the pitch, Ortega for that save against Spurs, which, you know, potentially was a huge moment in City winning the title. Both at fault for that first goal?
Yeah, it's just a complete miscommunication. As you say, both of them recently have been fantastic, but Ortega comes storming out, and it's probably not the best idea when Garnacho's running through at such pace, and even if Ortega would have got there, he would have been outside of his box and unable to catch the ball. He would have had to hope to deal with it on the bounce, which is always risky. I mean, we're always coached as defenders, and goalkeepers are told, let defenders defend. If there's a loose ball, allow them to deal with it and let them clear the danger, and you stay as the last line of protection in front of that net. But obviously he's come out, Vardiol's felt he needed to make a decision and make contact with the ball, and he doesn't know what to do with it. He's had to head it back over Ortega, and Garnacho's just ran onto the loose ball and finished into the empty net. Just a complete miscommunication.
Goals change games, don't they, Paul? And that just gave United an extra bit of something, and then the confidence just flowed from that point.
It did. I mean, when they did get 1-0 up, all of a sudden I started getting edgy. Within 30 seconds, City just, honestly, they changed, their mindset changed, and they went bang, and I thought, here it goes. They've poked the bear. This is going to go. And they weathered that bit of it, and they just kept going. And I just thought, please don't just sit in there and just keep whacking the ball away. Don't be one of those teams. And they didn't. And when that goal, Marcus Rashford, that is the best pass he has knocked all season. I'm going to have to go through the archives and see if it might be his best career pass, because that was incredible.
So outside of the foot, cross-field, to Garnacho on the other side.
But it was the thing about that made it great for me was Garnacho has made the right decision on what he's going to do. He could have tried to get it across just in front of the 6-yard line. He decided, no, I'm going to pick a man out, and he picks out the perfect person in Fernandes.
But how unselfish was Fernandes, Esme? Because, he could easily have put his foot through that and scored. Yeah,
superb, and I think that's what everyone expected. They expected him to pull the trigger. I think often he's quite a selfish player. He'll shoot where he's got the opportunity. But the delicateness of his touch, Garnacho found him on the edge of the box, and he'd scanned 5-6 seconds earlier. He knew where Minay was running to, and the ball came into him, just a little caress with the inside of his foot into Minay's path, perfectly weighted. And Kyle Walker, expecting the shot, I think had stopped tracking Minay, and he was able to finish clear into the bottom corner.
The thing about, I'll say about that, you had to put bravery on that as well, because if he miskicks that, trying to make that pass, he was open up then for everything, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Why didn't he shoot? That tells you where he is in his head in this game, because everything's done. He's been brilliant.
And what about the finish, Paul?
The finish was excellent. To be that young and to be able to do that, I wonder where I'm trying to think about myself at that age. And to be honest, I wasn't doing it in front of 80,000 people. There's 3,000 people at Craven Cottage. But to be in that position and to be that calm and collected, but we knew that already. The goal we scored against Wolves told you a lot about him when he gets in those areas.
Dennis says the ball from Rashford to find Garnacho in the build-up to the second was unreal. Superb to see at Wembley. Paul says United doing really well. Haaland's barely been in the game. Foden and De Bruyne have not had that much influence. They're shutting them out. At BBC RM Sport to get in touch. City, I think 35 games unbeaten, Esme. We don't often see them in this position. Going to be fascinating to see how they respond at the start of the second half.
Yeah, I think they need to come out with a little bit more intensity. At the start, when half-time came, you saw Doku and Akanji come onto the pitch and do some light warm-ups, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Doku in particular came onto the pitch. I think City have lacked a bit of pace and a bit of sharpness and unpredictability up front. I feel like when the wingers have got the ball, obviously Foden's moved inside, but Bernardo in particular, it's just been a little bit one-dimensional, cutting inside onto his left foot, finding a pass inside, where there's just so many United bodies, it's far too cramped in there. And I feel like Doku, with his pace, he's so hard to defend against. And even just having him on the pitch creates space for others, because people feel the need to drag over and cover their teammates. And I feel like having him on the pitch can drag a few United defenders out of position and maybe create a little bit more space for City's other creative players who, as the fan alluded to, De Bruyne and Foden haven't been involved at all. I don't think it's unusual for Haaland to be out of the game for long periods. So often you'll see him have barely double-figure touches inside a half of football. But Foden and De Bruyne are usually so integral and so involved. And United have just cramped their space and they've not been able to get on the ball in dangerous positions whatsoever.
The most controversial moment of that half, Paul, came pretty much right at the beginning. In the first couple of minutes, Erling Haaland felt he should have had a penalty, got a nudge from Lisandro Martinez. VAR looked at it. We understand they decided, although there was contact, the officials deemed it more of a coming together rather than a foul. Michael Oliver didn't feel there was an obvious error, and there's a higher threshold for fouls in the penalty area. Did you think it was a penalty?
Yeah, I hid away. I was waiting for it to happen and for the referee to give it. Just thinking against something so early in this cup final. Again, it's going to go City's way, and I was shocked that it wasn't given, because it just looked like, for me, Haaland could not have put his body in that position, just despite trying simulation. It seemed so real. It seemed like he hit him with force. I maybe need to see it again, and I might just then turn around and say I got it wrong. But this moment in time, I think United got away with one, and they've come back strong. I really don't know how to explain that one.
And Peter says 2 years ago, Villa were 2-0 up against City in the 75th minute. By the 80th minute, we were 3-2 up. They are the one team in world football you can guarantee are not out of it. Mark, City fan, Pep needs to get stuck into them at half-time. That was nowhere near good enough. What is the message going to be, Esme? What will he want to see more of in that, when the players come out in just a few minutes for the start of the second half?
I think it's lifting the intensity. City seemed a little bit rattled after the Vardiol and Ortega miscommunication, and started getting a bit lax in possession and playing loose passes into one another, which United were able to jump onto. And that's how United have been threatening, is jumping on City's mistakes and countering quickly. So City just need to tighten up a little bit on the ball, and I think lift the tempo of play. They've been comfortable at times, shifting it left to right, but at a very slow and lethargic place. There needs to be a bit more ball speed, shifting the play quicker to hopefully stretch United's structure, because for now they've just been sat on the edge of the box, comfortable, able to stay in shape and crowd the space. Whereas if City move the ball a bit quicker out wide, shift it quicker to the other side, it might just stretch and pull out some United defenders and create a little bit more space for City's players to operate. But I think a change, maybe bringing on Doku to add a little bit of a spark, would be something that would benefit City coming into the second half.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all if we do see changes from Pep Guardiola at half-time. The message, I'm sure, from Eric Ten Hag will be more of the same. It's half-time in the 2024 FA Cup final, live on Total Sport here from Wembley. And, fair to say it's a scoreline we didn't see coming. Half-time, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2.
Maybe she did run away, but maybe she was found, and maybe she was killed, or maybe she was just taken and murdered. And then that was it. She was never seen again.
The Forgotten Dead.
We've seen very many strange things, and you don't believe anything until you see it with your own eyes.
Who is the mystery woman discovered partially mummified in a basement 40 years ago?
I didn't understand it at all, and I thought, how could she leave us?
The Forgotten Dead.
I want the answers. I didn't think I'd hear anything about it again.
I just hope that it's solved.
The Forgotten Dead. Follow the investigation on BBC Sounds. Total Sports.
BBC Radio Manchester.
So it will be Phil Foden to get us started. Kick-off is here. The ball comes back in. Haaland shoved down to ground. Big penalty shout from the Manchester City fans there.
That has got to be a penalty.
An awkward bounce of Vardiol, who heads it back, and there is Alejandro Garnacho for Manchester United on the biggest stage. Alejandro Garnacho, the United youngster, with a mistake at the back. through season. And he rolls it into the bottom right-hand corner.
My left arm has got goosebumps on it. I cannot believe what has happened there.
Absolutely stunning pass from Bruno Fernandes.
Would you believe it? The underdogs are roaring. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2.
That's how the first half has sounded live on BBC Radio Manchester as the City and United players just start to come out of the tunnel. It's goalless at half-time in the Scottish Cup final between Celtic and Rangers. Bit of managerial news today. Wayne Rooney is the new head coach of Plymouth, whilst Vincent Kompany has agreed a deal in principle to become the new boss of Bayern. Rugby League action tonight. Warrington are in France. They take on Catalans. England 183 for 7 in the second T20 against Pakistan. And at T Warwickshire 271 for 7 on the second day of their county match against Lancashire at Emirates Old Trafford. So who will be celebrating at the end of the next 45 minutes? Manchester United 2 up at half-time in the FA Cup final, live from Wembley on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. You're in the company of the former Red Paul Parker, the current City women's player Esme Morgan, Mike Minay, and first Gaz Drinkwater.
Youth, courage, success. They were the words emblazoned on the back of a recent Manchester United home shirt, and they have needed their famous academy today. The first FA Cup final ever, which has seen 2 teenage goal scorers in the form of Alejandro Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo. Manchester United lead 2-0 going into the second half here, as Manchester City do make a double change. Oncoming is Jeremy Doku, replacing Kovacic. Also Akanji has been introduced to the City team, replacing Nathan Ake. City 2 goals down. Important to remember though, United have lost 19 games and conceded 84 goals in all competitions this season. They lost a 3-0 lead with 65 minutes on the clock against Championship side Coventry. This one is far from over.
Oh, you're giving me some confidence with that, Gaz. My heart has been hurting a little bit at half-time, but hearing that start, I'm thinking there might be an opening.
Well, we'll see now as United come forward early on in the second half with Diogo Dalot. He nicked it back really well. He's just outside the box now. His pass inside. Kobbie Mainoo does get there. Lay it off to Sofian Amrabat, who flicks it to the left-hand side where Marcus Rashford is waiting. Heavily involved in that beautiful, aesthetic second goal for Manchester United, which Kobbie Mainoo slotted home today. They're 2 goals up the Reds in the Manchester Derby FA Cup final. Now it's Ortega, who will pass it short from the back into the feet of Phil Foden. And now City have it on the left-hand side through Vardiol, whose error saw Manchester United take the lead in this game. City have won each of their last 11 matches in the FA Cup. In fact, excluding buys and void games, there have only actually ever been 2 longer winning runs in the competition's history. Ball goes over from Manchester City there, so United get themselves a goal kick. Paul Parker, how should United approach this second half? Should they be trying to get a third goal, potentially put the game to bed? Can't believe I'm saying that.
No, it seems that way, but the last thing you want them to start trying to sit back and maybe trying to play too deep, maybe try and then not to give the ball away. They've still got to play with purpose like they did in the first half. If they try and change it, it could be a Coventry situation.
Well, Martinez looks for a ball over the top, which does find Rashford. He just couldn't quite control it. Ortega there to collect.
If Rashford could have got hold of his first touch on a couple of occasions, he could have been in behind twice in this game. A great ball over to him. Kyle Walker got caught square, almost as you said Wan-Bissaka did earlier in the game. Lost the ball in the sun, and Rashford was in behind with space. He just couldn't bring the ball down.
I just think Marcus Rashford was more aware, took more notice of Kyle Walker behind him, rather than saying, Kyle Walker's behind me, I'm near the box, I may be in the box. My first touch here is just to bring it, I've got to bring it down. Kyle Walker's got to foul me. And he didn't do that. He got caught up with Kyle Walker and forgot about getting his first touch right.
It is 2-0 to Manchester United in the FA Cup final on BBC Radio Manchester. Don't go anywhere. This game is far from over. Bernardo Silva's pass inwards is intercepted by Sofian Amrabat. So now Scott McTominay has no options other than to drive down the left-hand side, still inside his own half. turns and plays it back to Marcus Rashford, who will turn and play it back to United's Players Player of the Season, Diogo Dalot. Back to the goalkeeper, to Onana, who shifts it down the right to Aaron Wan-Bissaka with a fabulous pass. He's closed down by Jeremy Doku, the Manchester City substitute. And Sofian Amrabat holds the ball up for United amidst 3 City players in blue surrounding him. United keep the ball well, play it through the City press, and all of a sudden, United building out from the back. They look confident. Onana hesitates slightly, gives it away to Doku, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka does step in and win it back for Manchester United. Now it's the captain, Bruno Fernandes, on the right-hand side. He thinks about that long pass and switching the play down the left. Instead goes short to Kobbie Mainoo, who had his first senior start this season for Manchester United, and he scored a big goal. Here's Bruno Fernandes, slides in, wins it back on the edge of the box. He's passing, looking for Marcus Rashford, just couldn't quite get there. Massive interception from City. Scott McTominay then steps in to win the ball back halfway inside the City half. He's tripped by Vardiol. It's a United free kick, but a huge opportunity for Manchester United at 2-0 up.
Well, the thing that I don't want Onana doing what he's doing now. I mean, what he's doing now, he's trying to keep things tight, but he's put himself in a position of trying to beat someone when he doesn't have to. There's no need for it. You only beat someone, even as the last man, as a defender, you try and beat someone if you're in serious trouble. Onana's tried it. He's the last man. He's the goalkeeper. He's putting unnecessary pressure on his teammates.
There was a huge opportunity for Bruno Fernandes to find Marcus Rashford, who would have been free one-on-one in the box, but a fabulous interception on the left-hand side by City. United with the free kick. Fernandes, it's a really poor one down the right-hand side. Jeremy Doku can just step in and win it back. He is surrounded by red shirts, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka wins it back. Now he'll drive forward himself. It's Wan-Bissaka, flicks it with the outside of his boot out to Alejandro Garnacho, but out of play for a free kick. Poor from Manchester United.
It was poor, and they recovered from it. It's just that Wan-Bissaka's made a drive inside. He needed Garnacho to be on his toes. He might have then picked up the pass.
Here's Doku coming forward for City down the left. He looked like he was in behind Sofian Amrabat there, but the Moroccan did well to shepherd him back on himself. But City keep possession now with Rodri, halfway inside the United half, central position. Out to the left-hand side, the substitute brought on at half-time, Jeremy Doku. Vardiol also in there to help out. Pass down to the left, to the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva will take on Diogo Dalot on the edge of the box. Left-footed ball in. Martinez there before Haaland. He heads it away. City do win it back, though. Doku on the left-hand side. He's got Garnacho and Wan-Bissaka for company. Doku shifted onto his right foot. Here's Vardiol. Bit of shooting space. Instead, lays it off to John Stones to his right. Kevin De Bruyne has come deep to collect the ball now. City's creative force got a bit lucky with that pass and then loses possession. A sliding challenge comes in from Vardiol, and the ball rolls harmlessly out of play for a Manchester United goal kick.
That was more promising though from City. A bit more zip on the passes, shifting it left to right with a little bit more pace. They found De Bruyne and Foden together in space on a number of occasions. Little intricate play between them, but it just fell loose. But that was much better from City with the intensity they were playing with, and getting Doku on the ball on the transition is a definite outlet for them with his pace.
United build out from the back. Martinez out to the left to Diogo Dalot. 52 minutes on the clock in the FA Cup final at Wembley. It is Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2. Here's Rashford, McTominay, plenty of space for red shirts here. McTominay racing forward, Garnacho on the right, diagonal run into the box. He looks across goal, lays it off to McTominay. He's brought down to ground, referee says no penalty. Fernandes wins it back in the box, flicks it across goal. It takes a block off the City defender, and now City will break themselves. Here's Jeremy Doku on the left-hand side, inside his own half, driving past Bruno Fernandes, who slides in, trips him up. Manchester City free kick on the left-hand side. They're 2 goals down, but again under more pressure there, Paul Parker.
Yeah, I mean, but United have done well for the fact of they're still making opportunities, decision-making again. Scott McTominay has got to stay on his feet. There was no reason for him to go down like that. He's got a little nudge. Carry on. Rodri's put his leg across him. It's not a foul. Just carry on rather than looking for fouls.
Rodri into Erling Haaland inside the United half. It's a long pass down the left-hand side. Doku's seen plenty of the ball since coming on at half-time. He'll take on Wan-Bissaka here. Back towards Phil Foden outside the box, outside the D, and his pass in past Amrabat is blocked well by the Moroccan, but given back now to the Belgian Jeremy Doku. Ball across goal. Foden just skews his shots, and it rolls into the grateful grasp of Andre Onana. It remains City 0, United 2.
Foden found himself in the perfect position. Doku had the ball down the left-hand side, down the legs of the box. He passed it square to Foden, who'd made the run from deeper in midfield, and he just scuffed at his left-footed shot. You would have thought with the form that he's been in recently, that would have found the back of the net. It did just bounce up in front of him, but he just mistimed the strike, and that's a chance that's gone to waste for City.
Now here's Phil Foden on the attack for Manchester City. Into the feet of Doku on the left-hand side. Now inside the box. Couple of step-overs. Haaland hits the bar! Bounces back to Garnacho, who clears the ball away gratefully. How have City not scored there?
So unlucky. Again, great play from Doku down the left-hand side. He's getting Wan-Bissaka and Amrabat 1v1 and finding space, and he's cut it across. Haaland swipes at it with his left foot, and it's just rattled the woodwork.
City with their tails up. They're 2 goals down. A goal would bring them well and truly back into this. Now it's Phil Foden. The fans to our right in blue have certainly brightened up. Doku, round Wan-Bissaka, brilliant sliding challenge, out of play for a corner kick on the left-hand side.
Well, it's going to be a battle, that Doku v Wan-Bissaka, one of the best dribblers in the Premier League, up against maybe the one-on-one best defender in the Premier League.
Kevin De Bruyne to take this Manchester City corner from the left-hand side. You can see the inflatable bananas behind him. His right hand goes in the air. 55 on the clock. They're still 2 goals down. Good ball into the middle. Onana flaps at it, gets it away in the end. Sofian Amrabat will clear, but now Kyle Walker will pick it up. Halfway inside the United half, Rodri. City still with plenty forward, following the corner. Now it's Vardiol. Bernardo Silva, plenty of space now for De Bruyne. On the left, beautiful looking ball in, but just floats over Erling Haaland. And out to play is a United goal kick. United remain 2 goals up.
City are hammering on the door here. That's disappointing from De Bruyne, who's actually coming off now.
Wow, interesting substitution this then. Kevin De Bruyne will be replaced. Julian Alvarez, the man to replace him.
Well,
what will the reasoning be for that, Esme Morgan?
I don't think De Bruyne has been at his best today. He's struggled to get involved. I think his delivery radar's been slightly off too, but he's a player that you probably don't take off, because he can just provide a moment of magic that can win you the game. But Alvarez, he works so well in tandem with Haaland, who has been quite isolated. So maybe Pep Guardiola's hoping he can get a little bit closer to Haaland and provide a little bit more finishing presence in the box.
I think it's more as well with Alvarez coming on. He's going to shift around the 2 centre-halves. He's going to make them have to make decisions. Well, at the moment, the only decision they've got to make is who's going to go up against Haaland.
Well, that's a good pass in behind there, looking for Julian Alvarez, who got there before Martinez, played it across goal, and Martinez's block bounced back off the Argentine and out to play for a Manchester United goal kick. Good defending.
And that's what Alvarez offers now. The 2 centre-halves have got a runner rather than a static player. And we're seeing then Martinez has had to go with him, and he's done great. He's earned the goal kick. United now, the biggest problem for them is psychological one, is the fact of they've had a 2-goal advantage a lot of times this season, and they've given mostly all of them away.
Absolutely. United winning against Chelsea in the Premier League in the 95th minute, going on to lose that game. Now it's Doku, cuts inside, just outside the box, lays it off to Julian Alvarez. John Stones joins in. Bernardo Silva inside the box on the right-hand side. Back to his left is Stones. Good ball into the far post. Wan-Bissaka misses it, so Rodri will take over. Right by the corner flag. Rodri's curling effort into the box, headed away from Diogo Dalot as Bruno Fernandes collects the ball himself. Looks to flick one over the top for Marcus Rashford, and Bernardo Silva plays a terrible pass back. Garnacho will get there first, but good recovery run in the end by Vardiol. Gets the ball back for City and back to the goalkeeper. 2-0 it remains.
That was the bad decisions there by Garnacho. He just hasn't got the pace to do what he tried there. Good idea, but decision-wise, he's better off then to keep possession of that ball.
City come forward again. Doku's shot is blocked by Wan-Bissaka, who ends up on the deck, and Amrabat will clear it away down the right-hand side. Akanji there to collect it on the halfway line for Manchester City. United so deep now. 2 goals up, 58 minutes played. Here's Stones. Rodri back to Stones, halfway inside the United half, as that is how deep Manchester United are. Every player behind the ball, and City have the ball halfway inside the United half. Flicked out to the left-hand side. It is the Belgian, Jeremy Doku, signing in the summer for Manchester City. Can he make himself a hero in the FA Cup final? Kyle Walker, bit of distance from goal. Great strike, great save. Strong hands from Andre Onana. Down to his left, out for a City corner.
So often you see Kyle Walker lining up those strikes from 40 yards, and so often you see them end up in row Z. But that was a brilliant strike from Walker, flying towards the top corner, and Onana with such an acrobatic save to keep it out.
Bernardo Silva plays the corner short, gets it back from Foden, thinks about the left-footed ball, and instead lays it off to Alvarez, who shimmies to his right, then shimmies to his left, then finds Jeremy Doku in a central position. Sliding challenge from Wan-Bissaka, wins the ball, but it bounces back out to Kyle Walker. Here is Walker, whose shot earned City the corner, which has caused this problem. Bernardo Silva venturing into the box on the right-hand side now, taking on Fernandes. The ball does come in to the far post. Wan-Bissaka heads it behind himself, where Rodri will collect the ball on the corner of the box. Ball into the middle. Mistake at the back for United as Varane won the header. Onana was in no man's land, and it goes out of play for another Manchester City corner. City take it quickly. Silva into Alvarez. Alvarez tries to slide one through, gets it back himself, and his shot clears the bar. City 0, United 2, 60 minutes on the clock.
Alvarez found himself with the ball on the edge of the box after the quick corner. He tried to slide it through to Foden, and it came back to him, and he hit it first time on his weaker left foot, and it just flies slightly over the bar. That was such a good chance for Alvarez. He had clear space in front of him. He maybe even could have taken another touch to go closer and have a clearer strike, but he rushed it and fired it over the bar. United have got lucky there.
Half an hour left to play in the FA Cup final. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2. 2 Youth Cup winners, academy graduates, have scored the goals for the Reds in the first half. Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo. The jeers you heard just moments earlier were from the Manchester City fans to our right here, getting even more frustrated at Andre Onana taking his time with the goal kicks, which you imagine will continue in this game. United now have it in a decent position on the left-hand side there. Bruno Fernandes by the corner flag just couldn't quite control it. So now City will themselves have a throw-in on their right-hand side, right towards their own corner flag. Kyle Walker will be the man to take it as he shades his eyes from the sun, which is something the Manchester City defenders have to watch out for in this second half as Onana plays long balls forward. The throw-in was in towards Erling Haaland, who was dragged down to the ground by Diogo Dalot, so Manchester City can get us back underway with a free kick. You hear the champions again, ole, ole, chance from City, and they've just given it back there in a terrible position. Rashford, Fernandes with a bit of space for United. Good pass to the left. Scott McTominay. McTominay's effort is blocked. Bit of an appeal for handball from the United fans, none from the players though. So City will get the ball back and build out themselves from the box. Was that the right decision made there, Paul Parker, by Scott McTominay?
I think my reaction answered that question. It was no. It was a poor decision. Scott is not one of those players you want in that area of the ball. You wanted someone else in that position, and Scott's tried to shoot through somebody. It was just a bad decision, and it was in such a good area as well, with good numbers as well.
Just a reminder for Manchester City fans who may be losing hope in this game. United were 3-0 up against Coventry. They were cruising in that game. Certainly not cruising here. Hanging on in this second half, but they are 2 goals up. Jeremy Doku on the left. Good pass to the byline, looking for Phil Foden. In fact, the pass just had a little bit too much on it. It'll go out of play for a goal kick, and Phil Foden himself will place it on the spot that Andre Onana should take the goal kick from.
And he's done that for a right reason. Onana's pulled his hands away. He's put in that spot, and he's just letting the referee know that as well. The referee will end up booking Onana, by the way. He will do it.
Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2 on BBC Radio Manchester. Do not go anywhere. You can take us with you on BBC Sounds today. Scott McTominay on the end of that long ball from Andre Onana, but just seemed to chest it down to absolutely no support from his teammates. So United get it back, City get it back.
Then he can see there's no one around. Keep it for yourself. Just hold it yourself. You're big man there. It's come to you direct. Keep it.
Here's John Stones in the centre circle for Manchester City. Once again, as we've said many times in this one, every United defender behind the ball. Good ball in behind. Here's Julian Alvarez. Slides it wide of the left-hand post. City with a golden opportunity to get back in this game, but wasted from the World Cup winner.
That's got to go in for City. There's such an opportunity. Phil Foden with a perfectly weighted through ball from the edge of the D, slides it through the gap of United's defence, and Alvarez times his run perfectly, finds himself one-on-one and tries to take it with his left foot and sends it wide. Amrabat got caught ball watching, and Alvarez ran on his blind side in behind, and he just scuffs it with his left foot. He's trying to find the far post. Onana narrowed the angle really well, to be fair to him. He didn't leave Alvarez much to work with, and he's put it wide. That's a huge opportunity gone for City.
Onana goes long again, and United this time do keep possession. Kobbie Mainoo challenged really well in the end by Rodri, who plays it back to his goalkeeper Ortega. He goes long himself, this time down the right hand side, as Erling Haaland brought down to ground. No free kick, and United will pick up possession inside their own half. Rafael Varane back to the goalkeeper, Andre Onana, again goes long, this time down the left-hand side, looking for Scott McTominay. Bit of a mistake from John Stones, so McTominay wins it back. Little bit of keepy-uppies from Marcus Rashford as Dalot takes over, cuts inside past Walker well. Diogo Dalot, his shot low, past the left post, out for a goal kick. But Manchester United looking for what will be the all-important next goal in this game, Paul.
Well, I'm quite pleased that they're still looking to score a goal. It's just that they're getting in that final third and they're losing their heads a little bit. They're just losing that little bit of composure. Dalot there's done great. He could have gone to the opposite, gone wide area of the box, but he decided to shoot and go for the near post, hoping that Ortega was thinking the ball was going to go to the far post. He misses it by 2 or 3 feet in the end. Got to be better. Has
scored long-range efforts in this competition, in fact, already this season, Diogo Dalot. Scored against Wigan at the DW. Here's Kyle Walker now inside the United half. Ball down the left, chested down well by Jeremy Doku. He'll take on Aaron Wan-Bissaka once again. Lays it off to Vardiol. Ball into John Stones. It's a terrible effort. More of a conversion than a finish that you'd see in a football game, Esme Morgan.
That was a really poor strike. He was in a great position, John Stones. Vardiol played it square to him about 30 yards from goal, and he just got under the ball and fired it so far over. The United fans with the sarcastic cheers is probably a fair response, to be honest.
Well, Rasmus Højlund warming up to come on for Manchester United now. The bib is off. It'll be an interesting one to see who he comes on for. Who will it be, do you think, Paul Parker?
I've got to look at, really, it could be Garnacho. Could be Garnacho.
Oh, McTominay's brought the ball down really well there, but in the end, surrounded by Akanji and Foden, and City do manage to nick it back inside their own half. Passing to the feet of Jeremy Doku on the left-hand side, but another fabulous sliding challenge from the spider, Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
He loves a challenge, and Doku's given him a challenge, and at the moment, he's won every single battle so far.
Onana will go long once again down the right-hand side. City come back into the United half, but Amrabat steps in and wins it back for United. Amrabat lays it off to Bruno Fernandes. Here's Alejandro Garnacho on the right-hand side now. Diagonal run into the box. It's Garnacho! The shot straight at Ortega. And with 68 minutes almost on the clock, it remains City 0, United 2.
Well, there's always going to be scares going on, and the fact of, yes, City are going to be making opportunities, creating possession, but United are going to have those moments like there was there for Garnacho, and if one just goes in, it could be the one that wins them this cup tie at the moment. But if City go and score that goal, that one goal, how will United react to that? That would be the question.
Fernandes to take the United corner. Floats it in to the far post. Varane goes up for the header. It just shades off the top of his forehead. And out of play on the far side for a Manchester City throw-in. Bit of a coming together there between Bernardo Silva and Johnny Evans, who's warming up for Manchester United. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2, 68 minutes on the clock, and to take you through the rest of the second half, it's Mike Minay.
Well, I just want, I mean, be honest, I don't mind a little bit from players showing a little bit of desire, but Bernardo Silva taking out a substitute, the substitute couldn't score, could he?
He doesn't mind getting involved, Bernardo Silva. Big game Bernardo, as he's known in blue ranks, but City yet to turn up here. They trail by 2-0. Bernardo sweeps it into the middle for Manuel Akanji. City 5 minutes ago were really turning the screw on Manchester United. It's calmed down a little bit. They have 20 minutes to save the cup final. Doku edging down the left-hand side. Now Vardy. Foden's got his back to goal. Comes into Rodri. Tries to flick it back through. Foden goes down on the edge of the box. Referee Andrew Madley not having a look at that. And Onana waits and waits for a City player in sky blue to jog towards him before picking up the ball and bouncing it around his penalty area. Where is your confidence right now, Esme Morgan, in a Manchester City comeback?
I think you never count City out. You could say the same thing for United, to be fair. Both teams have a history of dramatic late winners, but they've seemed to have lost a bit of the momentum that they had in the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, and it's been a bit slower these last few. They need to keep getting Alvarez on the ball, get Foden on the ball in those pockets, and just allow him to create an opening.
Varane taking no chances, launches it up the field. It might work beneficially here for Manchester United with Rashford and Walker coming together, as they so often have in this game.
He's done well there. I thought Marcus Rashford and Kyle Walker, that was a great battle. The referee done the right thing. The 6-1, half a dozen the other. Marcus Rashford, in my opinion, should have gone to the ball rather than he's ran away first. Go and try and win the ball.
Alvarez, a little mazy run down the middle. Spreads it out wide to the left for Doku. Doku into the penalty area, still going. Tries to take the shot on. It's behind Haaland and behind Bruno Fernandes. It took a nick on its way through. And Manchester City will have a corner on this near side right. Player down in the box for United, who's, I think, got a little bit of cramp within all of that. Is it Martinez down?
Yes, definitely him down. I just hope it, well, saying that, you know, he's got to come off. He's got to come off.
That's why Doku's on, Esme Morgan, to do those little jinking runs into the penalty area, a deflection that took it away from Haaland and then Bernardo.
Absolutely, to get himself on the back line. Alvarez with a great driving run forward. That's what City need, just someone to take the initiative and drive past a couple of United players and just create a little bit of disarray, a little bit of disorganisation. Alvarez drove towards the back line and slid in Doku, and he's so unpredictable. Wan-Bissaka has to stand off him. He doesn't want to get too tight in case Doku skips past him, and it was so close there to finding either Haaland or Bernardo at the back post. Now it looks like United are making a couple of changes.
Well, Rasmus Højlund is ready to come on, as is Johnny Evans, so you imagine that it is Martinez to be replaced. Physio's on, the clock run down all the time. Of course, will be added on at the end of the 90 minutes. There are currently 19 minutes of normal time for City to find a route back, or Manchester United, watched on by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, their new co-owner, Dave Brailsford behind him, and Sir Alex Ferguson in the stands too. So here come the United changes. Johnny Evans is on. The referee here is being surrounded by Manchester City players who are pushing and shoving, and United players too. Kyle Walker, the City captain, right in the middle of that. Is he angry that Martinez was down for so long and has just jumped up and walked his way off the field?
No, it's more about he wanted him to go off on the dead ball line. And that's what he's having a go at. I don't know why he's carrying it on now. He's done his bit. He's got to be careful, Kyle Walker. Martinez knew what he was doing. Kyle Walker's reacted. He's done it once, didn't need it all the time. I have to say, though, Johnny Evans coming on. Not a great time to be coming on as a defender at this moment in time. Your team are back to the wall. You've got a 2-goal advantage. You want to make sure that you walk off that field and your team has still won.
It's tough. It's definitely a tough time to come into it, especially when City have got such dynamic players going forward. He's such an aerial presence, though, to be able to sort of fight off the bombardment that's likely to come from City now, trying to find Haaland in the box.
Marcus Rashford replaced. England's rejection, certainly United's injection in this game. A brilliant ball in the first half to help set up the second goal for Manchester United, who lead 2-0. We are finally ready for this corner on the near side right. Phil Foden over it for Manchester City, stares into the penalty area, his right wrist strapped up. Left-footed in-swinging delivery expected. Doku stands on the edge of the penalty area as the short option. Everybody in red of United back. Foden bends it in to the back post. The heads go up. It's flicked on further by Delot. It'll be a second successive Manchester City corner.
Good delivery by Foden. Haaland was doing a good job of pinning Onana, so he couldn't come to claim the cross. It was a great defensive header, though, by Delot.
Another corner far side for Manchester City. Julian Alvarez now over it on that left-hand side. Two arms raised in the air. A right-footed in-swinging delivery to the edge of the 6-yard box. Haaland, oh, big claims that he was pulled down. He looks towards Andrew Madley, who instantly waves it away, almost despondent in the appeals from Manchester City. VAR, of course, can check, but for now, no penalty, and just a Manchester United goal kick.
I'll tell you what I don't like. I'm saying that's not a foul, because you look, it's David v Goliath when you look at those two battling for the ball. But the thing I go against Mainoo, he's not looking at the ball. He is looking at the man. I don't see how you can ever call that defending when you are not looking at the ball. He can't see the ball. He doesn't know where the ball's going from. He's not reacting. I'd be annoyed if that was given against the team I was playing him.
It can go both ways, can't it? Haaland there for me, he is being wrestled, but as you say, he's so much bigger than Mainoo. You could argue that he could have stayed on his feet and tried to get there, but when you see the replay in slow motion, it is like some sort of MMA move. So perhaps 2 penalties Haaland could have won today.
Well, this wrestling match of a contest is one that the red corner of the ring is winning at the minute. Manchester United lead City by 2-0. 15 minutes left. City in sky blue left to right. Manchester United in red from right to left. Vardiol out towards the left-hand side where Jeremy Doku can just mark up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Back infield to Joško Vardiol, at fault for the first goal along with the goalkeeper Stefan Ortega. Alvarez, Doku. 2 players with him. Doku with a little shift and turn of pace down towards the byline on the far side, still outside the penalty area, checks back, rolls it down the touchline for Julian Alvarez, into the middle for Manuel Akanji, who has 5 yards of space to go for. Walker's going for distance, saved by Onana, who's first to react. Scott McTominay ahead of Erling Haaland. The flag's up anyway, so any rebound goal wouldn't have counted. Another low, fierce, driven shot by Kyle Walker that Onana diving down to his right-hand side is equal to.
Brilliant strong wrist from Onana there. Go on, Paul.
But I'm just worried of where he's pushed the ball to. That's the bit that worried me. He didn't just go wide. It went almost straight through the middle. That's the worrying bit for me.
Yeah, Haaland was ready to pounce on the rebound. Obviously ended up being offside. But it was a dangerous, as you say, dangerous position to parry the ball to. Haaland was ready.
United down the left, headed on by Fernandes. Was he caught? No. Manchester City throw in. Guardiola with his hands on his hips in his grey suit in the shade of the Wembley dugout. He's never lost a domestic cup final as Manchester City manager. As it stands, history to be rewritten by a club that loves to rewrite history. Or maybe not. Here's Doku, edge of the D, still weaving his way, needs to force it out to the right-hand side, goes down, free kick. Well, he waited and waited for the challenge, and on the edge of the D, Jeremy Doku wins Manchester City a free kick in a dangerous area.
That's not a foul, to be honest. That's 2 people competing for the ball, and Amrabat was just stronger, the stronger man in the end. They're both fighting for that ball to win it, and Amrabat won that ball just by sheer strength and perseverance there, and the referee has just gone with it because of reactions. That's all it is in the end.
I think it's maybe a bit of an accumulation, because throughout Doku's run across the box laterally, he was getting jostled and not the whole way, and maybe it's just unfortunate for United that the referee's chosen to pull up the foul in the most dangerous position for City.
You don't have to be that sensible, you know.
This have to go in?
It's got to go in, or at least, again, threaten and give a little bit more of a boost of momentum. There's almost 10 minutes left on the clock for City. Time is running out. They need something soon.
Foden and Alvarez are the ones in deepest conversation here. Walker and Stones also getting involved in the sky blue chat. Manchester United have had the wall marked down. Alejandro Garnacho playing the role of draft excluder behind the four-man wall there that features the very well-built Rasmus Højlund. Rodri and Stones stand in front of that Manchester United wall. So it's just to the right of the D, 25 yards out. It will be Phil Foden to strike into the wall, and it bounces back to Julian Alvarez. So City will have to go again. The ball runs up short for Doku, and Vardiol stops Rasmus Højlund breaking down the right-hand side. We said it had to go in, or at least be towards Onana's goal. And it was poor from Phil Foden.
Yeah, disappointing. I think the wall did well. They stood strong, stayed tall, managed to block the shot, and then United looked dangerous on the counter-attack there. Højlund was making a great run in behind, and thankfully for City, Vardiol was able to intervene.
The thing that worries me at United at the moment, they brought in, I like the fact that Højlund's on, but I just worry.
Højlund goes down and wins a free kick. The ball bounced awkwardly for the Manchester City defenders. It was lofted high into the air. It was chased down towards the edge of the penalty area. Akanji and Stones trying to mark Højlund, trying to put him off. And Akanji fouls Rasmus Højlund, and where City had the free kick at one end, it's in a very similar situation for United at the other.
Well, United are doing what they've done in the first half. They've turning them around. Akanji is a stronger man and quicker than Ake. But my worry, Marcus Rashford is having one of his better games. He's taking him off. Straight away, there's that pace gone. Straight away, City have pushed up that little bit higher now because they're not concerned so much about the pace of Garnacho. Even Højlund off the mark is not a Marcus Rashford.
This free kick just ever so slightly infield from the right of the corner of the penalty area. 20 yards from goal. Bruno Fernandes over it. Højlund's on the penalty spot. It's Fernandes to strike straight into the chest of Ortega, who dived low on his goal line to clutch at the ball. And so Manchester City relieved of not going 3-0 down in this FA Cup final. The goal for United now surely wins it for them. Manchester City have 10 minutes of normal time left to find not one but 2 goals. They're 2-0 down to the red half of Manchester. Rodri, Stones, back to goal, turns it out to the right-hand side. It's slightly misplaced for Bernardo Silva, though, who carries it back to the corner of the box. Rodri's in on the right-hand side, bounces for Foden, but he can't get the touch. It's behind him in a way by Sofyan Amrabat. Here's Doku, cantering forward now again on the right-hand side. The near side, little turn of pace against Dalot. Low ball into the box near post. It won't reach Rodri. It'll be sent away for a Manchester City corner.
Rodri found himself twice in good positions there. One running down the inside, darting inside the box, and he tried to pull it across. Maybe could have had a shot himself. And then Doku, in his quick feet, shifted a yard of pace and pulled it across. Rodri needed to get across Johnny Evans in front of the front post.
Foden's corner goes in, and Onana flaps at it, pushes it out towards the far side of the box. Kanji was challenging. Here is Alvarez on the far side. It's a good delivery in, but Onana punches down. He probably could have caught that. United have to see it away, and they do. Now Manchester United have won themselves a free kick.
I just want Onana to the ball come out, catch it, give everyone a breather. He's gone out and he's tried to punch it. It was a poor punch as well. It was just poor from him, really. Poor goalkeeping. Made the right decision to go and get the ball, to go and attack the ball, but catch the ball. Stop trying to punch all the time when it's unnecessary. The ball was at chest height as well.
I agree. United needed him to catch that then. In a panicky moment where City are high pressure, it can just relieve a little bit of City's momentum and take the sting out of it. If your keeper comes and claims it and lies on the ball for 10-15 seconds, give you a breather, allow you to squeeze up and then play a long pass. But instead it leaves bouncing ping pong in the box, and it's all just a bit chaotic.
So United free kick right out on that touchline, far side, United's right. Fernandes, the captain, who is closer to lifting silverware for United this season. Right now, header down from the left of the penalty area. Offside given. Free kick to Manchester City inside their own penalty area. 11 years since Manchester City were runners-up in an FA Cup final, losing to Wigan. That day their own manager's job was on the line. Manchester United now, with reports of Erik ten Hag's future coming into this game, doing themselves the world of good. Poor ball by Walker down the middle of the field, far too much pace, everyone was flat-footed, and Andre Onana waits and waits and invites Haaland to come and close him down before teasing him and collecting the ball on the edge of the penalty area. Sir Alex Ferguson watching on from the director's box, checking his watch. We've seen that before. It'll read 6.5 minutes of normal time to go, and it's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 2 here at Wembley. Paul Parker.
I mean, I'm really pleased they've gone and done it, because the pressure these players are under from what happened here in the semi-final, what happened in the games where they've been in front before, Copenhagen, Champions League, all those times they've been in great areas and they've gone and given away goals to cost them games, to put them out of the Champions League. And at the moment they've kept their heads, they've played reasonably wisely. Yes, City have had some opportunities. Alvarez had a golden opportunity, didn't take it, but that was always going to happen because you're up against the best team in the country at this moment.
Yeah, that's it. City, a couple of wasted chances, and it could end up costing them. You'd have expected Alvarez going through 1v1. He's an amazing 1v1 finisher to bury that chance. And United in the first half, where they've had their opportunities, have been clinical, and City can't say the same this second half.
Ball on the far side, Doku tracking and has won it. A free kick for Manchester City. They get it into the centre circle. City in sky blue left to right in this second half. There are 5 minutes left of normal time. Bernardo waves Kyle Walker forward to join him. A little flick of the wrist. Foden trying to get the turn up against Johnny Evans. Goes down. The push came after Foden had played the pass. It was late. It has given City a free kick. Central, midway inside the Manchester United half.
And that's one of the first times this game City have managed to find Foden in those central pockets, in the gap between the midfield and defensive lines of United on the half turn. It's where he's so dangerous because he can face up, use his fast feet to create space. But Amrabat just body checked him as he was looking to go past, and it's a definite free kick for City. We'll see how they play it. I think it's a little too far out for a shot, maybe.
4.5 minutes to go in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Manchester United can feel they are nearly there, but they have to hold out. Walker out towards the left-hand side. Disguised free kick that finds Jeremy Doku. Low ball in towards Haaland in the 6-yard box. Stabbed away, I think, by Scott McTominay. Played back down the line from the far side. Here is Alvarez, 25 yards and goal. Square pass to Phil Foden. Too far out and not enough angle to shoot from. Doku, left corner of the penalty area. Steps in field. Doku will drive it low. It sneaks in! Jeremy Doku gets Manchester City from one within parity in the FA Cup final with 4 minutes to go. It's squeezed in at the near post, and there's hope in blue. Manchester United now know they're in a game. It is City 1, United 2.
That's why he was brought on twice there in that sequence. City have fired the ball out to Doku. They've got him 1v1. The first time he shifted the ball inside, whipped it in. They've not found Haaland. The ball's come back out to the edge. Foden sprays it back out to the left with Doku. He cuts inside and fires a shot towards the near post. And Onana maybe should have gone better. He got a hand to it, but it nestles in the side netting for City. And the game is on.
Long ball forward. Varane will just guide that back to Andre Onana. Paul Parker, the United nerves now must be jangling.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the keeper has to do better. He's gone to his left to try and see the ball, and by the time he's got to the left, the shot's come in. It's gone in at his near post. That's one of the first times as well, is that Doku has got away from Wan-Bissaka and got himself in a position to be man-marked by Garnacho, and he's beat him easy on his right-hand side. Garnacho thinks that's okay. He had to step across and try and block the shot. He didn't do that, and that's why City are back in this game at this moment.
Blue moon ringing around Wembley. Manchester United fans quiet with nerves. They have 2.5 minutes of normal time left. Manchester City 1, Manchester United 2. Doku, the man who's just got the goal, weaves his way down the left-hand side. He's cutting in field again. It's behind Foden. It might rebound to the Stockport academy player of City, but it's away by United. Vardiol out to Doku. It's a case of giving it to Doku and hoping here. Doku weaves in, still going. Jeremy Doku fires a low shot against the legs of McTominay and Amrabat, and United send that high into the air. It won't drop over the touchline. Rodri's control just gifts it on that far side to United, who lose it immediately. 2 minutes to go. Kyle Walker, 10 yards inside the Manchester United half, moves it out to the right. John Stones looks forward only. Square pass infield to Walker, who sends it long over the top for Jeremy Doku. Manchester City looking for the late show. Vardiol, couple of goals for him in recent weeks. He needs one now more than ever. Doku on the left-hand side. Goal scorer at Wembley in his first season at City. Here is Foden cushioning it through. It'll be ahead of Alvarez. Akanji knocks it down. Walker uses his body, and it's back to Stefan Ortega.
United are panicky now. Whenever they get a loose ball, they're slashing at it and slicing their clearances. City just keep on coming, and they're playing with such energy and adrenaline pumping through them after that goal, and you feel that from the City fans as well.
25 years ago, Manchester City were 2-0 down in a League One playoff final with 5 minutes to go. They saved it and took it to penalties. They couldn't do the same again, could they? Vardiol, ball just runs across it. Here's Manuel Akanji. From distance, Akanji. Fernandez slides down, but there was no deflection. And it goes over the bar. It's a wasted shot from the Swiss centre-back of Manchester City.
I think you've got to know your strengths in that situation. City are packed with attacking talent, and a centre-back who likely has not scored more than a couple of goals this season is shooting from 30 yards. It's not a great decision.
Well, I just think when you look at that, there, that is when something's not going right. Akanji has panicked a bit there, by the way.
7 minutes of added time. 7 minutes to send United to FA Cup glory. 7 minutes for Manchester City to save those aspirational hopes of a double-double. No English side has ever done it before. Here is Fernandez on the left, tracked back by Bernardo Silva, the two Portuguese players. Rivals today, they'll be friends in the summer in Germany. It's a United corner. They've worked that down to the corner flag well on this near side. Well, referee's changed his mind. Goal kick. Esme Morgan.
Yeah, as he should have done. Garnacho tried to play the ball off Akanji to win a corner, and it ended up hitting him and going back out for a goal kick. And Akanji was apoplectic when the referee pointed towards the corner flag, as was I, to be honest, because it was never a corner.
Manchester United are going to throw on the troops here. Lindelof, Mason Mount ready to come on.
The worry is, though, Scott McTominay struggling, by the way.
He's got to hold his line here. Doku, left-hand side. Some City fans clamour to their feet. Doku with another turn of pace. Last-ditch challenge goes in from Wan-Bissaka. It's earned City a corner. It's given United a breather. And instantly, Julian Alvarez goes behind the byline to collect the ball and set it down here. City need to get on with play. 6 minutes to go in this FA Cup final. Alvarez on the far side, pushing and shoving in the penalty area. It drifts under the goalkeeper, who catches it. It's a big claim from Andre Onana. He might have punched and parried before, but that one he holds tight and will run down the clock more, Paul Parker, for Manchester United.
That's what he should have done about 15 minutes ago, but he's done it this time. Perfect timing, and he's just killed that little bit of time, taken a bit of pressure off the players.
Long clearance by Onana. 5 minutes to go in the FA Cup final. We've had 2 minutes of added time. Here is Doku on the turn halfway line. Manchester City throw given.
He's made those substitutes. He's made the substitutes. He's bringing on Højlund. Højlund hasn't been in the game. He's not offering him, not playing it into him. The areas they should have been attacking was looking in behind, taking off Marcus Rashford. You have lost that pace in behind. City have stepped forward as a team.
Here come the substitutes for Manchester United then, with Alejandro Garnacho and Rafa Varane and Scott McTominay replaced. Victor Lindelof and Mason Mount come on. For Manchester United, Mason Mount, who has lost all 6 finals he's played at Wembley. Varane still on, my apologies. Here is Akanji, halfway line. Vardiol down the left. Doku weaves his way in again. It's flicked into no man's land by Julian Alvarez, and Manchester United are on the break with Mainoo. Højlund is making the run. He's got Akanji with him. Højlund pulls out to the right-hand side. He doesn't need to attack the penalty area. Manchester United are leading, 4 minutes to go. Played back into his own half. It is safety first. Possession is paramount for Manchester United. Back to Onana. Alvarez will close him down. The nervous screams of Paul Parker there on BBC Radio Manchester. Haaland with the chest control. Foden will try and force the issue. He can't. Manchester United with Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes will go from distance in. Ortega off his line. It swerved for a moment, but was of no danger to his goal in the end. And Manchester City here will have a goal kick away to our left-hand side. 3 minutes to go. Will there be one more moment? Will someone get their dick-off chance? Here is Vardiol on the left-hand side. Manuel Akanji in the centre circle. Pep Guardiola agitated on the touchline. There's nothing he can do. It's down to the 11 out there right now as Akanji slides it out to the far left. Rodri, his unbeaten run is hanging by a thread. Doku up against Wan-Bissaka and Amrabat. Patient, lays it back to Vardiol, 30 yards from goal. Akanji central, now Walker. He's had a couple of sighters in this game, chooses not to now. Bernardo Silva on the right. Bruno Fernandes with him. Bernardo tries the cross, it is blocked down by his Portuguese compatriot. 2 minutes left. 2 minutes for Manchester United to hold on. Europe awaits if they can. Bernardo Silva has space on the right-hand side. He canters towards the edge of the box. He gets the cross and it deflects. Oh, and then John Stones. Awkward bounce. And the ball runs behind for a goal kick, and that could be that for Manchester City. Manchester United are 90 seconds away here, Esme Morgan.
Yeah, miscontrol from John Stones there after what looked like a promising attack, and Onana is going to run down this clock as long as he possibly can.
He's placed the ball down. The players jog up towards the halfway line.
Fair play to them, United as well, as they've conceded that goal. They haven't crumbled. City have not made another opportunity since.
Long clearance by Onana. Stones wins his header. Foden flicks it back towards his own penalty area. This is it now for Manchester City into the final minute. Vardiol. Here's Walker. Walker into the centre circle. Out to the left-hand side. Rodri carries it closer to the penalty area. Half a step over. Flicks it out towards the far side touchline. Jeremy Doku. Infield he comes. Bends a looping ball. Haaland will let it go. It's flicked back acrobatically by Bernardo. Here's Walker. Wild shot. Haaland's header into the penalty spot. And it's away by United. It'll run. Alvarez has got to give it everything against Rasmus Højlund. The two combine and tussle, and Højlund could look towards the penalty area. Men are over with him. It's stopped by Joško Vardiol, but a free kick given to United, and they celebrate that as if it's a goal because they know they're there.
Højlund has done absolutely fantastic there. His first real bit of play he's been involved in. He keeps the ball well, makes the right decision with the pass, and earns the foul as well.
The player of the match has been given to Kobbie Mainoo. The youngster, the academy player in his breakthrough season, has scored ultimately the decisive goal in this game. Erik ten Hag on the edge of his technical area. His job on the line, it might just have been saved. Fernandes has sent that over towards the far side. The full-time whistle goes! Season-saving silverware for Manchester United. The players run all over the pitch. Martinez straight to the fans. Huge screams of elation in red. The boys have become men on the main stage of Wembley. Garnacho and Mainoo. City gifted them the first, but the second was gift-wrapped. It's double-double that's turned into toil and trouble for Manchester City as Manchester United do the FA Cup double. First the women and now the men. What scenes in red for Manchester United, who will lift the most famous piece of domestic silverware in English football. A famous day. Erik ten Hag has guided Manchester United to victory, and Pep Guardiola despondently walks over to shake hands with his players. They made history with 4 in a row, but with 1 to go it was too far, and Manchester United are the FA Cup winners of 2024.
Manchester United win the FA Cup against all the odds. Former United defender Paul Parker, what about that performance?
Well, I did say it from the start they could do it. I might have said it a little bit, but I was never 100% believer in it, but they've gone and done it. Then they've got what they deserve, to be perfectly honest.
They had to ride it out in that second half though, didn't they?
Yeah, but everyone expected that. Everyone expected Onana to be worked a lot more. The back four were excellent the way they defended, especially to say the 2 centre-halves and Wan-Bissaka. The midfield as good a combination, as good a performance as I've seen for a long, long time.
The Manchester United players are celebrating in front of their fans in the east side of Wembley, inside the penalty area. Hugs, red and white flags being waved from the United supporters. A second trophy in 2 seasons for Erik ten Hag. They held on in the second half to win the FA Cup. The season is salvaged. They're into Europe. Our United reporter Gaz Drinkwater watching on. Gaz, sum it up for us.
I've just had to compose myself a little bit, Mark. Yeah, I had a little cry then. I've seen Manchester United win everything there is to win in football, but we all know that Manchester United over the last 11 years haven't been the same Manchester United that a lot of people have become accustomed to. We know that the way this club has run has led to this club being in a downward spiral, where this season we've seen them have their worst ever Premier League finish. You compare that to the way Manchester City have been run, which has been absolutely impeccably in terms of getting results on the pitch. And today Manchester United have come up against the 4 in a row champions of England, a super team, and they have performed a tactical, I want to say masterclass, but it's more of a miracle. It was phenomenal. 2 academy graduates have done it. It's miraculous, it's marvellous, it's Manchester United.
The United fans continue their celebrations. Manchester City cutting a very different picture. Just in front of us, John Stones waving to someone and blowing a kiss to someone in the crowd. But the City players are stood mainly with their hands behind their back, just looking on at the City fans as they drift away. Let's go live to Jason Mohammed with Alejandro Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo.
Incredible moment for us, also for me and Kobbie. We scored the goal, but all together we fight like the last game of our life, so we are very happy.
Kobbie, you are absolutely outstanding today. What does this mean to the football club? What does this mean to you?
Absolutely everything. I mean, it's been a tough season with ups and downs, and recently the only thing we've had to look forward to is this final. It's such a big one to run it back from last year. Last year I was in the stands watching, I couldn't be involved, but it's an incredible feeling.
Also, these fans, they were incredible today, Alejandro. You were fantastic on the pitch as well, beating the champions of England. But these fans were incredible today.
No, incredible. Just to say thank you all the fans, because when we lose, when we win, they are always there. Away games, home games, Wembley now. So it's just, we did for the fans.
Such a different performance for Manchester United today, Kobbie, to last year's performance and also the performances in the league. Why was today so special for you?
I mean, like I say, because it's been such a tough season, we knew we had to come together. And the staff and the players recently for the preparation for this game has just been amazing. The way we've come together, we've shown that we can compete and we can win games. You know, it's such a big game on such a big stage.
How good was this fella today?
Nah, just incredible. I always say it, for me, the best player in the squad, and he's the youngest, and we are also very good friends, so I'm very happy for him.
And And what a week you've had. England, Euro 2024 squad as well. Absolutely incredible week.
Yeah, definitely, but right now I just want to focus on this, to be honest. I can't look too far ahead.
Well done, you're going to have a great night. Alejandro, can you do the honours? Player of the match, Kobe Mainu. Thank you very much indeed.
The two goal scorers, Alejandro Garnacho and Kobe Mainu, the two academy graduates with the 2 goals, 2 teenagers scoring at Wembley as Manchester United, against all the odds, beat Manchester City 2-1 to win the FA Cup. Marcus Rashford just being shown on the monitor in front of me, looks like he's potentially got a tear in his eye. They're getting a big hug from Casemiro as the United players continue their celebrations, trying to look out for Erik ten Hag. Penny for his thoughts right now. Paul Parker, former Manchester United defender, part of our team here at Wembley. They can't sack him now, can they? They're just beating City to win the FA Cup.
Let me just say, LVG.
Very true.
I mean, be honest, if they were to go and do that again, it would be really, really embarrassing on the club. What they've got to do, they've got to back this person, give him the players he wants, let him get rid of the dead wood he's got, get the right players there with the right attitude, get commitment back in that team, and on regular basis, and build from there. Don't try and start from scratch again. Don't get caught up in this world of these other managers, big names and all that. Stick with what you got.
Pep Guardiola on the field, just pacing around, looking at the Manchester City fans. There's still a few of them left, but most of the Blues are drifting off. Esme Morgan, City women's defender, watching with us. It was an engrossing second half, Esme. Exhausting just to watch. City had their moments. In fact, they had plenty of great chances, Julian Alvarez in particular, but they left it a little bit too late in the end.
Yeah, I think the breakthrough goal just came a little bit too close to the end. I think it was 87th minute. City had chances before that. Foden had one where the ball was pulled across the box, and then Alvarez had 2 great chances on his left foot. One of them that popped out to him that he fired over the bar when he had time to take another touch. One of them where he's 1v1 and you'd put money on him scoring those. He's done it countless times this season, but just not to be today. And as you say, a little bit too late for the goal. They didn't have enough time to capitalise on the extra momentum that it gave them, and a disappointing end to what's been a wonderful season for City.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola not exactly going over to console his players, just pacing around with his hands on his hips. Erik ten Hag has just been celebrating in front of the United fans who were bathed in sunshine to our left. Andre Onana just picking up a flag from one of the supporters, big hug from him, and we get a shot of Sir Jim Ratcliffe on the TV in the director's box. What will he be thinking inside? Luke Shaw and Erik ten Hag sharing a big hug at the moment. And we talked before the game, Paul, didn't we, about the fact they haven't had that partnership at the back of Varane and Martinez together this season. I know Martinez went off in the second half, but how well did they do this afternoon to, keep Erling Haaland quiet?
I thought they was excellent, absolutely. It didn't put a foot wrong, to be perfectly honest. Not a foot wrong. Yes, I told the Porky there, by the way, a bit worried about Martinez. That first challenge in the box, that may have been caught out a little bit and gambled, a big gamble, and he got away with it. But other than that, the positional sense of both of them were absolutely brilliant. He was getting in front of Haaland. Varane was round the back for anything in the air. Haaland couldn't move. And to be honest, Haaland is a static centre forward, but you have to be aware if he gets an opportunity, and you have to match him for physicality. There isn't many players who can match Martinez for physicality. He will fight with anybody because he's Argentinian.
United have made an art form of throwing away leads this season, Gaz. How were your nerves when Andre Onana let that one spill through him in the final few minutes?
I'll be honest, I had to mentally convince myself that Manchester City were going to take us at least to extra time at that point. It felt like inevitable, the way that City were piling on pressure, which they were always going to do. But City had a lot of the ball in the first half as well. What's the point of having the ball if you don't create chances? This is why some people, on the very few criticism that you can have about Manchester City, because I am not taking away the fact that they are a super team and they have been fabulous all season, and last season they were even more fabulous. But one of the criticisms is, let's just try and get it forward a little bit more. You can pass it around the midfield and around the defence all you like, but sometimes when you come up against a team who have a real tactical plan and a way to play against you, like Manchester United did today, you will struggle. City fans, they've complained in the past about Arsenal. playing defensive, about Real Madrid playing defensive. No doubt it'll be United who have played defensive today. Well, they've played in a way that stops you winning a game of football, and United deserved to win that game of football today.
Manchester City had 19 attempts at goal, but only 4 of them on target. United with more shots on target. The photographers all gathering down in front of the Manchester United players, who in a moment are going to lift a second trophy in 2 seasons under Erik ten Hag. The stories yesterday that potentially this is his last game in charge of this club. If it is, what a way to go out, beating the reigning European champions to lift the FA Cup. Johnny Evans there getting a big hug as he walks towards his teammates. 36 years old. Paul, he could never have imagined at the start of the season this is where he'd be right now.
I was talking to Ben Forley before the game, and we was talking about Johnny Evans, and Ben was thinking what I said. I come out and said, if someone had told Johnny Evans that he would have played this amount of games, Johnny Evans would have come out and said...
just going to interrupt you because we can hear live now from the United captain Bruno Fernandes.
And the football club.
No, obviously it's a long season. It was difficult. Was our last chance to get something positive from the season. We've been here last year. We're not good enough to go through the stairs and lift the trophy. We had to see them going and do that. This season is the other way around. We played a great team. They have great qualities, great players, great manager. We had to go. We had to suffer, we had to sacrifice, but we had to put also some quality through the game, and we did great things.
To a man, Bruno, today, you were absolutely sensational.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Absolutely brilliant.
It's part of the job. I have to try to do the best I can to help the team. Today was one of the days where you come through and you're happy with the result, happy with the performance, and it's not much that I can say now.
And I've got to ask you, Kobbie Mainoo, our commentators, our presenters are speaking about this young man. How good is he?
He's really good. He's such a quality player. You see the composure on the finishing that he had. But, I think part of the DNA of this club is the young come through the academy. Once more, in the biggest stage of the world, they show it again.
I spoke to you about the social media post, which was lovely, you put out yesterday. Absolutely beautiful. And it worked because your fans today, the players, rose to that support in that end today.
Yeah, it wouldn't mean nothing if we didn't have the result today. So congratulations to everyone in the staff, the players, also the fans that they give us a big push today.
Big party tonight?
Of course, we have to celebrate. Finally, we have something to celebrate, so we have to enjoy it.
And special for the manager too?
Special for everyone. Obviously, we know the manager is being under too much scrutiny, but it's part of being at Manchester United. Players, staff, they all know that we're going to be under this manager. He's experienced enough. He knows, and he deserves also. Everyone today in this staff, the back room, everyone, the football players, we all deserve this.
Obrigado. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you so much.
Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes with Jason Mohammed live on Total Sport. Manchester City's players beginning their walk up to the Royal Box here as FA Cup runners-up, which is not a position they could have imagined themselves, I guess, at the start of this game. Odds-on favourites to lift this trophy today and complete the double-double, but it hasn't happened. Pep Guardiola leading his players up. Erling Haaland, Phil Foden. I can see Scott Carson, he's just signed a new deal with the club. He's walking up to receive his runners-up medal as well. And Bruno Fernandes saying there, we had to suffer, but finally we have something to celebrate. Chris is a United fan. That's what can happen if you have a coherent plan and have the players to execute it. Onana, Mainoo and Amrabat were utterly magnificent. Manchester has always been red. Mike says finishing 8th is an awful season for United, and managers do get sacked for that. But how can you sack someone who's won 2 trophies in 2 years? Richard, the City fan, I'm embarrassed for Pep. That was humiliating. Brian says Doku should have played from the start. And Rob says people will talk about how great United were, but that's possibly the worst performance I've seen from City in years. They dominated but couldn't put the ball in the net. At BBC RM Sport to get in touch with us. Pep Guardiola shakes hands with the Prince of Wales and shares a hug right now with the Manchester United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. Kyle Walker just behind him. Manuel Akanji receiving his runners-up medal. He came on at half-time. Nathan Ake as well as the City players one by one go through the Royal Box, shaking hands, bitterly disappointed to not be lifting this trophy. Kevin De Bruyne Has got a smile on his face, though, and Jeremy Doku, who did make a real difference in the second half. City women's defender Esme Morgan, part of our team. It's really tough, this, isn't it, Esme, for the City players? Have experienced so much success, but on the wrong side of it today.
Yeah, they've had such an incredible last few years. It almost seems unusual to see them going up first to collect medals as runners-up rather than lifting the trophy. And this all hurts so much. They're such desperate winners. You've seen it on the Netflix documentary, how passionate they are, how driven they are to be successful in every single competition. And add to that, to lose in the final to your rivals, it's going to sting. But I'm sure there'll be celebrations and a parade for the overall season that they've had. Record-breaking performance in the Premier League, getting 4 consecutive, and that's what they'll hang their hats on for this season. They just fell short today. They had opportunities to win the game, but in the end, as we've alluded to, United executed the perfect game plan. They sat in, limited City's chances, and were clinical on the counter-attack. And Ten Hag, to be fair to him, for maybe once you could argue this season has completely gone away from his principles. He wants to play a style of play similar to how City do, but today he recognised that that wasn't going to get him the result, and they won it in the way that they did, from completely going against that, being difficult to beat, and then hitting on the counter, using the quality and the pace that they do have in those forward players.
Really classy gesture from the Manchester City players, who are now standing in an almost guard of honour for the Manchester United players as they walk through them and head towards the Royal Box. Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne applauding as Marcus Rashford files past. Manchester United, the winners of the FA Cup in 2024, led out by Erik Ten Hag, with a smile on his face, shaking hands as he climbs the stairs towards the Royal Box. What a moment for him. If it is his final game in charge, well, boy, didn't he and his team save their best for last. So as the United players head towards the Royal Box, let's listen to the trophy lift. Gaz Drinkwater.
The ribbons are red, the Wembley sun is shining, and against all odds, against all expectations, Manchester United have conquered their noisy neighbours. We see the FA Cup glistening, ready to be wreathed in red, as Manchester United's triumphant stars, who have had such a disappointing, dismal, injury-ridden season, climb the Wembley stairs, that long walk up the Wembley stairs, to take their place as FA Cup champions, the 13th time in the club's history. Erik Ten Hag leads his men to the balcony, to a chorus of cheers from the Manchester United fans in attendance. Rafael Varane follows him closest, shaking the hands of royalty and dignitaries, and of course, the Manchester United co-owner in Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So many rumours swirling around the future of Manchester United's manager Erik Ten Hag. Will this magical day at Wembley maybe change the minds of the Manchester United hierarchy? Should it change the minds of the Manchester United hierarchy? Only time will tell for that. But for now, as the likes of Rafael Varane, Sofiane Amrabat, Christian Eriksen, Lisandro Martinez, Amad Diallo, Andre Onana receive their winners' medals, the time now is for a red celebration. Erik Ten Hag shaking the hands of fans who are sat by the area, the balcony, where the trophy will be lifted from. Let's not forget Sir Alex Ferguson in attendance as well today. A man who won so many trophies at Manchester United. But I'm sure as proud as ever to watch this side lift another one at Wembley. The United fans in the sun at Wembley Stadium, the National Stadium, the biggest stage for football in this country, have pulled off what some may describe as a miracle. They've beaten City 2-1. Erik ten Hag assembles his squad, all with medals around their neck, as they await for the captain Bruno Fernandes to receive the FA Cup. The most famous trophy in the history of English football, in the history of football full stop. And the champions are Manchester United, 13 times champions. Wembley is red, Manchester is red, and the Reds go marching on, and on.
Special moment for any footballer to lift the FA Cup here at Wembley. Bruno Fernandes is almost juggling with it as he raises it again, egged on by the United fans. Paul Parker, you've been there, you've experienced this moment. What's it like as a player wearing that famous red shirt to hold that trophy in your hands?
Well, it's everything. I mean, I always talk about United when I was growing up as a kid. We're a cup team, and that's what it was. See, in the FA Cup, I always just saw Manchester United, so to play in one and win one, it was everything I always thought it was going to be. But to wear the red jersey and just to win something, I just don't think there's anything better, to be perfectly honest, in the Manchester United jersey to win a trophy.
Anthony is the latest to hold that trophy in the air. Erik ten Hag, both hands above his head. We had a close-up then of Sir Alex Ferguson with a big smile on his face. Now it's Lisandro Martinez's turn as he holds it towards the United fans. Christian Eriksen the latest as they pass that trophy around, and applause from Avram Glazer stood right behind them. Well, after everything that's happened, Gaz, I mean, 8th in the Premier League this season, all the problems, all the injuries, Ineos, the takeover, everything. Look at this scene to end the season. Mad. Football's mad.
You're so correct. Football's mental, isn't it, Mark? It's absolutely mental. United, look, we all know the problems that they've had this season in terms of injuries, and what we've seen there is Erik ten Hag with almost a fully fit squad. The only man missing from it was Luke Shaw, who is a really a big part of Manchester United's first team 11 as well. But maybe that's what you're seeing there. Maybe the excuses were valid throughout the season.
Guys, just hang on a second. The trophy's just been passed to Erik ten Hag, who's holding it up to the United fans. That's a special moment for him. And we had the comparisons, didn't we, to the final in 1990 and Sir Alex Ferguson. That game, supposedly, or that winning that trophy saved his job. I guess time will tell, Gaz, whether this saves Erik ten Hag's job.
Look, it won't do, I don't think. I think the decision has already been made. I think that's when the report came out. I think that Ineos, since they've already made the decision, who knows, they may even have informed Ten Hag already. They probably won't go back on their word at this point. But I tell you what, Mark, they should do. They should do. You've seen their 90 minutes, as I said, Ten Hag with a fully fit team. He won Manchester United the Carabao Cup last season. 6 years without a trophy before they won that. 6 years. And they've won 2 in 2. You can't sack a manager because of that. Who cares about, look, everyone likes to play in Europe's elite competition. Everyone likes to play in the Champions League. But I would sooner watch my club lift silverware than qualified for a European competition.
Well, the
that's
thing
just
is,
me.
Today they've lifted silverware and they've qualified for a European competition. Back in Europe next season, United will be in the Europa League after all, despite finishing 8th in the table. And that handshake between Erik ten Hag and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, well, the cameras were watching. It didn't last that long. Let's just put it like that. Didn't last that long. The United fans in the sunshine, bouncing up and down and singing along to Glory, Glory Man United as the players make their way back down from the Royal Box. Willy Camboire leading the fans as they chant. Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes just re-entering the field. The players are back. If you're a United fan, you've listened to it with us this afternoon on Total Sport. You've watched it maybe on BBC One. 0800 218 2255. 0800 218 2255. Give us a call right now. If you're a City fan, what have you made of what's happened there this afternoon? I don't think many people saw that coming. 0800 218 2255. Or you can get in touch on WhatsApp. You can get in touch that way. 08000 321 333, or you can get in touch on social media at BBC RM Sport. Andy says he's a United fan, a very poor season, but that had a perfect end. Varane and Amrabat completely outstanding. Ten Hag out-thought Pep in that first half with those long searching balls over the top. And Andrew says, for all the criticism of Eric, he got his tactics right today. United were resolute and organised in defence first and foremost, but also threatened plenty. I hope he gets another year. Paul Parker, do you think that Eric Ten Hag surprised? Oh, hang on a minute, Manchester United players just lifting the trophy again pitch side for a second time as the ticker tape goes off and the champagne corks pop and the fireworks and flames go off behind them. United fans enjoying every second of this on what's been a very special day for the red half of Manchester. Paul, I was just going to say, do you think Ten Hag surprised Pep with the way that he is set up in that first half?
I think he did. I think the players were certainly surprised by it. They didn't need it. Kyle Walker wasn't expecting to run at top speed back towards his own goal. He does that maybe once or twice, but he put Kyle Walker on edge. He never attacked in that first half. In the second half, he never really got going. The first time I really noticed Kyle Walker was when he had that shot on an arm and saved it to his left-hand side. That's the first time I noticed him in that second half. So he was kept quiet by it, by the way United's tactics. And I keep saying is that everybody is trying to play the Pep Guardiola way. Sometimes you have to put your imprint on your own way that suits the people you've got. And United done that in that first half. And that's why they deserve to come in at half-time in front, and they deserve to win that game by the way they went about it, the way they still attacked the game. They still made opportunities in a counter-attacking way, not a swift counter-attack, but they still tried to score. They didn't just go, we've got to nail this down and we've got to hang in now. They still tried to win. And when anybody playing against Manchester City will always have their backs to the wall because of the way City are.
Do you think maybe, in fact, I'm just watching actually, Eric Ten Hag is down by the side of the pitch shaking hands with Alan Shearer, Wayne Rooney and Michael Richards, and he's live with Gary Lineker. Eric Ten Hag.
Good performance. You had a plan and your team played it masterly.
Yeah, I think so. All the compliments to the team. They play very good, to our identity, very strong. And you have seen, if we have the players on board, how we can play. Then in our philosophy, they are not even fit. Some are not even match fit, but I think the performance was very good.
Does this send a message perhaps for yourself and your team that when your players are all fit and available, that you're much better than perhaps you've shown in some of the parts of this season?
I tell you all year this. I tell you this the whole year. When the players are fit, we can play good football, and very good performance against the best team of the world, I think.
How much more important, how much more satisfying is it that it was against not just probably one of the best teams in the world, but also the fact that it's your local rivals?
Of course, always when your local the rivalry is there, it's much more important when you play against a team from your own city. But also for us, it was not about this. It was more to prove a point after such a first year with so many setbacks, with all the injuries, and every time we had to survive. But the team shows so much resilience, and I'm very proud of them.
No, so you should be. Do you feel like you've been unfairly treated by the media, by the likes of ourselves?
I think so. The team, me as well, was not right.
Okay.
The only thing I would say to that, though, you had a team out there today who've shown a great attitude, who've shown great ability, who've won every single tackle. That hasn't always been the case this season, though, has it? So you can understand why we do criticise sometimes. If you had that every single week, then you wouldn't have finished in 8th. Today was unbelievable.
No, but we didn't have the players. And you are right, we have seen the same things. There was not always good football, definitely not. But we had to make all the time compromises. And then you can't play the football you want to play. I'm now 2 years here, and probably maybe we had 3-4 times we had the full squad on board. Also today, some massive players like Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, Casemiro not on board.
Yeah, I can sense your frustration, and your frustration might be that this could conceivably be your last game. Do you know? Do you?
I don't know.
You don't.
But it's. Only thing what I am doing is preparing my team, develop my team, progress my team and the individual players, because this is for me a project. And when I came in, I can say it was a mess. Yeah. And we are now better. Underneath, I always said we are better, but we are by far not where we want to be.
Yeah. You won a trophy last season. You've won a trophy this season. You're now in European football again. So whatever happens to you, you can hang your head out with pride, can't you?
Football is about winning trophies. And in the end of the day, I want to play the best football. I want to play dynamic football, attacking football. But in the end, you have to win games and you have to win trophies. And now, yeah, that is the mentality we brought in. We had only one opportunity. That was the FA Cup. And we did it. So what I say, I'm so very proud of the players and staff because they did an incredible job.
Eric, we've just witnessed a great midfield performance from a youngster in Kobbie Mainoo going up against some of the world's best in Rodri and De Bruyne and Phil Foden. He was magnificent today, wasn't he?
He was. It was really so enjoyable to watch Kobbie on his age. But it's also an example. We wanted to bring him, and then in the second game in pre-season he got a bad injury and took him long to get back. But in the moment we brought him, the team.
How high can he go?
I think we have to keep it calm, because you are very good here in England to push players and manages very high, and then you hammer them when they are one or two bad performances.
Eric,
I think it should be more calm.
Okay. Eric, thanks very much for your time. Many congratulations. And
there you go, Gary Lineker live with the Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag with a message for the media there. You should be more calm. Some of the other comments, if you just switched us on and didn't hear all of that, some of his players haven't been match fit. I told you this all year that when I have my players fit, they can play good football. The club was a mess when I came in. Football is about winning trophies. We've won 2 trophies in 2 years, and he is the 4th Dutch manager to lift that famous trophy after Ruud Gullit, Gus Hiddink, Louis van Gaal, and of course now Erik ten Hag. Manchester United beating City 2-1 to win the FA Cup final. Live here on BBC Radio Manchester. Paul Parker, former United defender, was listening to what the manager had to say. He was spiky, wasn't he, Paul?
Yeah, and I think he's got a right to be. I've been disappointed the way he's being treated by the media, the way they've got at him, the way they're trying to force him out of the football club with their little comments all the time and questioning everything that goes wrong. He's made this mistake, he's made that mistake, and if we start looking at everyone's job, what they do, and questioning what they're doing, they wouldn't take to it kindly either. When you're being told by people who haven't got your credentials to do that job, but think they know it better because they look at social media and they've suddenly become coaches and managers, then you are going to take it personally. So I understand where he is, but you sometimes don't need people coming out and saying to you, oh, but if you'd have been playing like this all season, you wouldn't be in trouble. You know, why you got to say that for? It's quite an easy thing to say, but it's a cheap shot, which you can talk about any teams. If City had done better against Real Madrid, they might be in the final. If we're going to talk about little bits like that, these margins are so tight now. Winning a trophy this year in this football now is an incredible achievement. You can't knock any team that wins a trophy. People just talk about Champions League and Premier League. I'm sorry, League Cup, all of them, they're all big trophies, because otherwise there's nobody to manage clubs. If you just want a manager who wins things, there's only so many of those managers around. Good managers don't always have to win trophies. They need the opportunity to.
Has he kept his dignity, Gaz, given everything that's been thrown at him in recent weeks?
I think Erik ten Hag has kept his dignity throughout everything that anyone has thrown at him, and there has been criticism and valid criticism. Let's not forget that. at times the way Manchester United have played this season has been so extremely chaotic, and you look at the shots conceded, even with the injuries, it does suggest a strange tactical choice from the manager. Their tactical choices that he may still pay for yet. We don't know if he's going to stay on as Manchester United manager. Despite that, he has never once thrown his players under the bus. He has never once brought the club into disrepute. Remember the times of Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho would come out on press conferences and he would directly criticise players that he didn't like. The way that he treated Luke Shaw, and I'm a big Jose Mourinho fan, I thought was absolutely disgraceful. Eric Ten Hag has not done that with any of his players. He's had a lot of off-the-pitch incidents to deal with, the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, of Jadon Sancho, of Mason Greenwood, and you have to say that throughout all of those issues, he has dealt with them with the utmost respect for himself, for the football club.
Gaz Drinkwater on Eric Ten Hag, who's led Manchester United to the FA Cup. What a day Kobbie Mainoo has had. Just seen him wandering along there in a big bucket hat, a big Stone Roses bucket hat, living his dream, playing at Wembley, scoring what proved to be the winning goal. And Ten Hag did say at the start of the season, when United were on their pre-season tour of America, that Kobbie Mainoo was going to be such a crucial player for him this season. But of course he was denied that at the start of the season due to injury, and the impression he's made since he's come in has been quite something. It will be no surprise at all to see him starting for England at the Euros in a couple of weeks' time. So the United celebrations continue, even though it is thinning out to our left here at Wembley. The City end's basically completely empty. Esme Morgan, Manchester City women's defender, has watched that with us. What will City fans be feeling as they walk away? Where's the big regret today?
Well, I'm just feeling a bit deflated. I feel like we're so used to seeing City win. We've been so blessed and lucky the last few seasons, and it seems weird to be on the losing side in such a final. As you say, Pep Guardiola's never ever lost a domestic cup final with City, so it seems unusual. They call Wembley Etihad South. It's our home from home, but unfortunately it wasn't to be today, and there were missed opportunities. Alvarez had a couple of really good chances. Haaland struck the bar, which was so unfortunate. We've just seen a replay of it on the screens. If it was even half a yard lower, it would have hit the back of the net. And I think the goal that broke through just came a little bit too late. It was 87th minute. There ended up being 10 more minutes to play. And they'd been knocking on the door for some time before that, but just couldn't find a second goal.
Esme, going to stop you there because the United defender Diogo Dalot is live now with Gary Lineker.
The best way to approach this game, the mentality that we showed, the hard work, the resilience. I mean, I could say it was the best game of the season in terms of being complete as a team, duels, being really focused. I mean, you could feel inside the dressing room before the game that we really wanted to win this game. But again, this is the standard of this club. It has to be every single game, has to be in every single competition. I know it was a tough season, but it feels good to end at least like this with a trophy.
Why do you think that's not been that consistent this season compared with the performance of today, which was a brilliant performance?
You could use all the excuses that everybody talked through during the year. It was the injuries, it was the performances. Overall, I try not to use that as an excuse. In the end of the day, we're playing for Man United.
Your manager did.
Yeah, but obviously it's a reality. We cannot hide from it. But at the same time, we're inside the pitch. We still have the opportunity to do things good. We could have done things better during all season. But again, I think it feels good for us, and especially for these fans. They were amazing through all the year, and they, more than everyone, they deserve this.
You look like you had a real game plan out there today,
yeah.
A real structure to your game, and all the players stuck to it really well.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that if we close the middle, if we just allow him to play from the outside, it could get a little bit easier for us because the distance between us were really short. Backwards pressing had to be really aggressive as well. And then we knew that the spaces weren't behind. I mean, we created some chances, especially for South. We did really well. Then I think it was hold the result and try to be as much efficient as we can.
How important was it to have the two experienced heads in the middle there, and Martinez and Varane? I think it's 14 or 15 different partnerships the managers had to play in the middle there, but those two alongside you and Wan-Bissaka were rock solid in there, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think it showed the connection that they have there. Even with me, the fullbacks, they really step up when they are on the pitch, and it gives us more confidence as well back there because we have a good connection between each other. And again, I'm ashamed.
What's the best player our season? Now we need to.
Bruno, thank you very much, man. Oh, he's got to go. I've got 2 mics. I don't know what to do with
Diogo Dalot wheeled away by Bruno Fernandes, who's desperate to get him involved in the celebrations down in that far left corner. The United fans and players in the sunshine enjoying themselves down there. Diogo Dalot live with Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and Wayne Rooney on BBC One. And just speaking about young players, the 2 players who scored the goals today, Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho. Players at Manchester United, Gaz, you know, they're under the spotlight immediately, whoever they are. But for the young players to be able to perform like that on a day like this with everything at stake, you know, that's just got to give every United fan, you know, just a big smile. Just
it's incredible, and it's something United have always been about historically. But before I talk about how incredible they are, I feel like I do just want to caveat it by saying that these young players shouldn't have that responsibility.
Gaz, stop you there. Let's hear from the Manchester City manager, Pep Guardiola, live.
After losing a final too often, but what have you just said to the players in the dressing room?
After the game?
Yeah, what did you say?
Congratulate all of them for a fantastic season.
But what did you make of the performance today? Where do you feel it went wrong?
Went wrong. We lose the game. Congratulate United. It was a tight game, and after we concede a goal, and in the second half, except the first 5-10 minutes, we had the chances. We change our pace up front, and overall we make a really good performance considering the final, and congratulate United.
You mentioned there the opening goal. Stefan Ortega played such a key part in winning you the Premier League trophy at the end. What went wrong, and how much did that goal rock you, do you feel?
No, what can happen? Many things happen in the finals today, many things, decisions, so many things happen, and at the end they scored 2 goals, and we could not score more.
You said in the week that if you lost the final, you wanted it to be because the other team were better, not because you weren't yourselves. Do you feel that was the case today? So you don't feel United were better?
No.
So was it simply a case of not taking your chances? What was the difference?
No, I know so the chances they had, that we had in the second half. We were there all the time, a transition team, always United since 10, 20, 30 years, always have been a transition team. In the first half we struggled a little bit, and the second half we were better until we found our moment. We scored a little bit late with the chances we had with Erling, true with Julian, actions from Jeremy, especially on the left side. Yeah, in general, was a good performance considering the final, and something happened.
You stayed out and watched Manchester United lift the trophy. Can that be a motivating factor for you next season to say to your players, we don't want to watch another team lift a trophy next year?
No, we don't play against United. We play for ourselves. So what they're going to do United is no business.
Thanks, John Pep.
Thank you very much.
Kelly Summers asking the questions there to Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola. Obviously, Esme Morgan, you know, that you can hear it in his voice. That's hurt him.
Yeah, it's such a disappointing day. Obviously, they're riding off the back of such an amazing victory in the Premier League last weekend, and they will have come into this with such high hopes of finishing the season in the same manner. And I suppose it hurts for him because they stuck to his principles right till the very end, and it just wasn't enough. And to be fair, going a little bit off topic, that's what I want to credit Ten Hag for, because it's so easy as a manager to stick to what you do continuously and go down and say, but I stuck to my principles, I was true to our style of play. But Ten Hag put his pride to one side to one day and said, you know what, I'm going to play in the manner that gets us the result. Against this City team, I can't play my style of play and win, and he acknowledged that himself and played a completely different style, did what was necessary to take the win, and ended up being successful. So I want to credit Ten Hag with that, but understandably Pep's disappointed. It's been a long season, a tough season, albeit a successful one, but obviously finished on a little bit of a disappointing note.
Yeah, I think you're right about Erik ten Hag. Showed that adaptability today. Paul Parker, Pep Guardiola there said that Manchester United weren't the better team today. He was asked whether United were the better team and he just said no. Is he right? Is he wrong? Or is he just gutted?
Obviously, he's gutted because he had a chance of making a bit of history again, and he's always going to be that way. That's the reason why he is what he is, and the reason why he was so successful as a player and as a manager. And he can keep going and going and surpass all records. If you want to look at it that way, you have to say United weren't the better team in that way. For Manchester United, that was a massive leap in commitment, in attitude. Everything was so much better about them, the way they went about it. If you pull it down, take things and look at individuals, then you turn around and say City had the better individuals. But you looked at their key individuals and the ones that normally go and win them games, United stopped them playing. They didn't play, they didn't perform today.
And if you look at the FA Cup this season, just thinking about the whole campaign, you know, there's so many moments in it where they were behind against Liverpool twice. Amad Diallo scores that breakaway goal. Coventry in the semi-final. VAR, they would have been out.
I'm thinking about Newport County.
Newport County,
yeah. Man, I was watching that game, and I was virtually, if I'd have been a cat, I would have been hanging off the ceiling. It was, honestly, I was just there. I was cringing. I was doing everything. I was seeing all the embarrassment. It was terrible performance against Newport County, and everything about it hasn't been right. And everyone keeps, as you mentioned earlier, mentioning 1990.
Yeah, I was just the parallels.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. I just hope it has the same outcome in the sense of he's able to at least get another season. You know, it's mad. It shouldn't be another season. Should be talking about consistency in a man and allowing him to do his job. The new people coming in are new. They've got to learn their way of doing it. They've done it. He's gone and done it out in France. He's got new people coming in. Allow him to work with those people and then do it together. Don't go out and just start with someone, a fresh face in there. You can see there's unity on the field. That comes through them from the manager as well. Bruno Fernandes has changed his way. I'm accepting to eat humble pie and what I've said about him. So a lot of people have got to maybe bite their lips, bite their tongues, and turn around and say this man isn't bad. He's done a great job at Ajax under difficult circumstances, and since he's left Ajax, they've crumbled. So that says a lot as well from what they was achieving. I saw his teams go to the semi-final of the Champions League, playing incredible football. So there's something there. It's just some of the tools he's got at Manchester United are just not good enough.
So what do they do now then? Because I remember last year on the Sunday morning waking up after, sorry, not last year, back in 2016, it feels like last year, because the similarities are, you know, they're there throughout. Dutch manager, United struggling in the league, but they win the FA Cup. Rumours about his future before the game, win the final, and then he's sacked. Is that same story just going to play out, do we think, over the next couple of days?
I really hope not. I'm looking towards it, but I think we've got to remember as well, I think we knew how LVG was as a person. We don't know what was said behind closed doors. We knew that he was never going to stay quiet about anything. If he wasn't happy about something, he would speak his mind about it. We don't know really how that worked out. I mean, he went and achieved something. He did turn it around in a way. He brought discipline within the team structure. It wasn't the fast-flowing football that I played when I was at United and what I watched after I left United, because it just got better and better because the players coming in were a different style and a different ability. But I think this man has got something there. There's still players that he doesn't want there. He doesn't want that club who don't deserve to be there. But you can see there's certain players what he can build a good team around. I'm not going to talk about Premier Leagues or anything. I mean, he can go out and build a good team that's going to compete. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I should be talking about my old team, one of my old teams, Queen's Park Rangers, not Manchester United. Because as far as I'm concerned, when I come into it, and I still live off of it, United always compete. Because if you didn't compete, your teammates would question you.
What has to change then, Esme Morgan, if Erik ten Hag is going to stay in charge next season? What has to improve?
I think it's making sure all the players are completely committed to his philosophy and doing their very best for him as a manager. I think without that, you end up having sort of disharmony within the team, people who want to play for the manager, people who don't, and it can just, that conflict just unsettles the group and you're not as productive. So I think they've got to, if they do decide to stick with Erik ten Hag, they've got to weed out players who don't want to play for him, who aren't committed, and make sure they bring in hungry people who fit his style of play. They've got to recruit well. That's what City have done well over the years, is signing people who fit Pep's style and allowing them to fit the system. So they've got to recruit well in that manner, and select players who are absolutely desperate to play for Ten Hag and want to build and believe in his philosophy.
Ben says, this is the proudest I've been of the lads all season. Mainoo outstanding, Fernandes outstanding, Onana, aside from the goal, outstanding. Even Amrabat and Wan-Bissaka, who've had very difficult seasons, were both superb overall. City were marshalled so effectively for the majority of the match. Rich says, amazing what happens when you get some of your first team back. All this talk about Erik ten Hag is disgraceful. And Andy says, in tears, my dad took me to Wembley in '90 when Fergie's job was on the line, and an FA Cup turned fortunes as the true fans backed the manager. Manchester will always be red. Some United fans getting in touch with us at BBC RM Sport to do so. It's Total Sport live from Wembley Stadium, which is emptying now after United surprised City to win the FA Cup, winning 2-1 here. They hung on at the end. They were 2-0 up at half-time with goals in the first half from the two teenagers, Alejandro Garnacho and then Kobbie Mainoo from Stockport. Let's find out how the United fans are celebrating back in Manchester in the city centre. Our reporter Josh Watton is there.
So outside the Printworks with Alex, Jordan and Dylan, three very happy faces I'm looking at. I mean, sum that game up for me. I mean,
honestly, it was amazing. Everyone doubted us and we smashed them. That goal was lucky. We battered them the entire game.
Second goal wasn't lucky. Second one was a really good goal.
No, City's goal was lucky.
Oh, City's goal.
It was through the players. Goalkeeper couldn't see it. United absolutely smashed them.
Did we see, dare I say this, a managerial masterclass from Erik ten Hag today?
If he gets sacked now, I'll be really upset. What he's dealt with throughout the whole season with injuries and the Sancho backlash and all of that, I think he's dealt with it really well. But I think next season we're just going to be back better than ever. You've seen we put out our strongest squad tonight and we beat the best team in the world. No one can argue that City team is the best team in the world. Although they lost to Real Madrid, that they are the best team in the world. They've shown it the last 4 years, and we've just shone throughout. I've come out with dislocated shoulder, not worn my sling. It's probably been dislocated about 35 more times by the United fans in there. But you know what? I don't care. I'm on a high.
Manchester United fans speaking to our reporter Josh Watton outside the Printworks in the city centre after watching their team win the FA Cup. It's Total Sport live from Wembley. Mark Crossley still with Paul Parker, former United defender, and City women's defender Esme Morgan. So United into the Europa League, which means Newcastle miss out on Europe altogether after today. So United qualify for Europe as a result of winning the FA Cup. And Paul, guess what? 77 days' time, we get to do it all over again. Community Shield next season, City against United, back here at Wembley.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'll be looking forward to going 2-1 up at Wembley. That's the thing now. I may bring a trophy out for that.
What does it mean, though, being back in Europe next season? How important is that to the club, both financially and to, reputationally, I guess?
I'm going more with the latter there, because someone threw that up at me. I don't know where I was, but someone threw it, I'll be better to go out of Europe and then try and go a season without Europe. I said, well, it's done Spurs a lot of good, isn't it, being out of Europe? United are a team that need to keep going, in the sense of you need as many games as possible to keep engines running of certain players, of maybe all the players. But more than anything, as a club, UEFA want Manchester United in Europe. The whole thing, you want them in any competition, doesn't matter what it is, to win a European trophy. And you've got to remember, United have got no right to be saying they don't want to play in the Conference League if it come around, because the Cup Winners' Cup was one of those things which they still live off, which was a massive trophy for them to win. They still talk about it now. And if I was to go and speak to one of those players, and that happened the year I joined as well, go and speak to, say, a Mark Hughes, a Gary Pallister, a Steve Bruce, a Brian Robson, they will talk about that still being one of their greatest nights. So don't ever put down any European trophy, the smallest one.
Yeah, back in the Europa League next season. So Jim Ratcliffe has just been asked by a reporter in the mix zone downstairs here at Wembley. If Erik ten Hag is staying as United manager, he smiled and carried on walking. So no comment from United co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe about the future of Erik ten Hag, despite the fact they've won the FA Cup and he's won a second trophy in 2 seasons. Now, tomorrow night, we're going to be live from 6 o'clock at the Manchester City Parade in the centre of Manchester as they celebrate 4 Premier League titles in a row. Esme Morgan, how's that parade going to feel tomorrow? Slightly weird after what's happened here?
I don't think so. I think the mood will shift quite quickly to being back to celebratory of the Premier League success. Obviously, off the back of today, I think there'll be a little bit of disappointment tonight, but as players, you're so used to small setbacks, losing and having to bounce back a few days later. You get into the habit of getting over things quite quickly, and I don't think they'll sort of be wallowing on the parade tomorrow, maybe slightly subdued at first, but I think as soon as they get into it, and obviously the fans are out in force to support them, I think celebrations will be high as normal.
When you've just won the treble and you don't win the treble, I guess anything feels like it's a come down. But the fact that they've won the Premier League again, they got to the FA Cup final, they were only denied getting to the Champions League final by penalties. They've still had an unbelievable season.
Yeah, and it's an impossible task to replicate the wonderful success of last year. Only 2 teams, well, maybe 3 teams, I think, have ever won a treble. I could be wrong with that. Anyway, the 2 Manchester teams have won it. It's a very rare occurrence. And so it made me laugh whenever there was talk of City doing it again, as if it was easy, because to win 1 trophy is difficult, to win 3 is close to impossible. It happens so rarely. But I think the fact that City have those expectations on them just shows what an incredible team they are. It's a surprise when they don't win something rather than when they do. And I think the narrative today of it being a miracle that United have beaten City shows how incredible this City team is and the success that they've had. So, yeah, an impossible task to replicate last year, but you can't complain with a season when you've won the Premier League.
There won't be any lasting damage from this, Paul, will there, for Manchester City heading into next season?
No, not at all. I wouldn't have thought so.
Just one of those days?
Just is one of them. When you've gone and done what they've done last season, you always know there's going to be a few little snags along the way the following season. You are not going to go and do it again. You can't just go and do it. Otherwise, there would be an issue with football if you could just go and do that. Before, people were talking about doubles being difficult. Doubles, virtually a lot of teams have gone and done it. But that is nothing. I mean, they've gone and won the main one. They're champions again, and they've won it 4 times on the bounce of their domestic league of their country. So that's a fantastic achievement there.
You said earlier that when you were growing up, that when you signed for United, they were known as a cup team. That's kind of what they are now, isn't it? I mean, the success they've had in the last 10 years has been in the FA Cup, it's been in the League Cup, it's been in the Europa League, and it's Manchester City that are the team that are rattling off Premier League title after Premier League title. Yeah,
they have come that way, but what will happen again is that you'll get somebody. It could be Ten Hag, because he's that side of it of winning domestic trophies, that he's going to want it. He's going to want to get involved and be talking about winning the league, because when you are a manager of Manchester United, you understand that you want to be there, you want to be talked about in the same breaths as Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson. You've got to win a league title, win 1, and then you've got to go and do it again the following season. 1 isn't enough. It was never enough for Sir Alex. It was never enough for him to accept it, that his players accepted only winning 1. If you thought you had done it and you turned up thinking you've won something, you was gone very, very quickly. And I saw a few players go because they enjoyed that medal too much, not wanting to win more.
Well, so whoever the manager is at Old Trafford next season, obviously we've seen the young players again. We've talked about them so much today. They've got so much to work with. What needs to, where do they need to strengthen the most?
You still got to look at defensively. Have to look at if you look,
because that was Rafael Varane's last game.
Yeah, it was. Yes, you need another centre half, at least 1 centre half. You might be looking in full-back areas. For me, you would still look at wide midfield, wide players. at least one wide player. You'd want another experienced centre forward to come in to work with Hoyland. So Hoyland, for him to someone to mentor him, for him to look at his game and think, I need to add this, I need to be doing that. To him to get to understand, he's done incredible achievement to go and do what he done, the goals he scored in this team, to go and score that many goals. But he needs help because his second season will be that little bit more difficult because expectations will be higher. He's that bit older. People will expect that more of him, a bit more of him, because he's a Manchester United player. If he was at any other club, they'll be lauding him everywhere. But you're at Manchester United, everyone's going to pat you on the back. You turn up next season, that's all gone. If you expect it to be there and you want to live off of it, then you've got big problems. So he needs to move up another level, understand where he is now. And then, because he must know that expectations are high. But to be fair to him, the lad wants to do it. He really, really loves being at this football club.
Paul, great to have you with us this afternoon. Thank you for your company. Esme, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's the red side of Manchester, though, which has the bragging rights. After the FA Cup final, as United upset the odds to win by 2-1, with the two teenagers scoring the goals, Alejandro Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo. What a day he has had in the sunshine at Wembley. Thank you for joining us throughout the season on Total Sport. Of course, our coverage tomorrow night begins at 6 o'clock from the Manchester City Parade. Disappointment for the Blues today. No double-double, just disappointment. But United's season has had a golden finish.